Hello and welcome to EPLAN. My name's Jeff Kilburn. I'm the Managing Director for EPLAN USA. We're very pleased to have you visit our virtual booth here at the Automation Fair at Home, the first ever virtual Rockwell Automation Fair. Last year we were pleased to have the announcement that EPLAN had joined as a founding member Rockwell's Digital Partner Program. And this year we've lined up a lot of material to help you explore how EPLAN might help you with your automation needs. Some of this material is recorded, some of it's live, but all day, every day, we have people ready to answer questions via live chat or set up one-on-one meetings, however you would like to interface with us. I want to draw particular attention to some of the panel discussions we put together. That's with customers. Some of our customers you can hear directly from. Some of our partners that we've engaged with, including Rockwell and some of Rockwell's distribution channel partners that we're engaged with now, as well as a member of our cloud team where you can hear how we're approaching cloud solutions here at EPLAN. This is set up for you to discover how this fits your individual, your team goals, your corporate goals for increasing efficiencies and how you execute automation solutions. We believe we can deliver value to you, whether an initial concept, through the engineering, onto design build, even in the runtime maintenance. We actually have a demonstration we can show with one of Rockwell's other digital partners, PTC, that shows a very interesting use case with the combined technology of all three organizations that I believe you'll see that there's some unique and thought-provoking ideas behind that. It's operational now, and so I invite you to take a look and see if it's something of interest to you. So we're here for you. We invite you to explore, and we look forward to hearing from you. Enjoy the show, and hope to talk to you soon.
Hola, soy Luis Olvera, director de EPLAN para México e Hispanoamérica. Me es un placer darle la bienvenida a este Rockwell Automation Fair. En EPLAN, lo más importante es satisfacer a nuestros clientes ayudándolos en la reducción de costos, tiempos y mejora de sus procesos. Espero disfruten toda la información preparada para ustedes. Cuídense y no olviden visitar nuestro booth. Hasta luego.
Hello and welcome to the Rockwell Automation Fair event at home. My name is Zoltan Tellier. I'm a director with EPLAN and I work with multiple teams across North and South America. Today I would like to talk to you about our integrated value chain, a concept that we truly believe enables becoming digital for companies in the ecosystem of industrial automation today. As a digital partner of Rockwell, we believe that every company should have a concept to implement digital workflows. The concept I'm going to speak about today is called integrated value chain. It starts with the engineering process. Second step is the sourcing, then the manufacturing, and finally the operations. That's hopefully exactly the same process you experience in your daily work. And now I will speak about the details about this concept. The digital transformation has really taken off. It has changed not only the way we obtain information and communicate, but also our consumption habits and production methods. Panel building and switchgear manufacturing companies are driving the digital transformation in a number of areas. Some production and organizational processes have already been digitized, but the complexity of many production systems is preventing a rapid transition in some cases. The vast majority of people we are talking to on a daily basis envisions a more advanced level of digitalization. Ignoring the digital revolution has now become impossible. As you are well aware, the topics of becoming digital, automating workflows, and last but not least, standardization are truly important to become digital. Let's talk about the engineering process to start this discussion. Let's take a look at the value chain step engineering. The engineering process usually starts with collecting data for the specifications and design phase. Unfortunately, designers are facing various data sources at the beginning, which makes it challenging to create a high-quality digital twin. This high-quality digital twin, however, is a key success factor for a streamlined work preparation and documentation process. So let's talk where our data are coming from and how we enrich them in the EPLAN platform. The EPLAN Data Portal is a high-quality engineering data source where engineers and technical designers can download and use component data, for example from Rockwell Automation, via drag and drop. If your ecosystem or internal departments, like sales, are not using EPLAN data today, our database-driven platform will allow you to import various native data formats such as DWG, DXF, and Excel lists. Our R&D teams are currently working high speed on importing data from other tools with artificial intelligence technologies to make this process even faster and more convenient for our EPLAN ecosystem. Once you have the great data, you can use it to create a digital twin because you have a data-driven process. So you can use exactly the same data you have used before in our expert engineering software EPLAN Pro panel. So here you can see from generating circuit diagrams, assembly layouts to fully production integration, we can have it all in this software package. In the next step of manufacturing, I will also talk about how much impact this approach can have in terms of time, cost, and quality. I think also for you, it becomes more and more important to not only find the right product, but also the digital information of these products. So let's talk about the step of sourcing so that we can show you how you really can enable a digital workflow for this step in our integrated value chain. Modern ECAD systems are not isolated solutions. The deep integration into the customer's IT infrastructure makes it possible to transfer automatically generated bill of materials for quotation and material procurement into pre-existing ERP systems. Of course, our customers do not have a greenfield. Everybody has already pre-existing ERP and PDM systems to maintain technical and economical data. So here our EPLAN portfolio offers an integration suite. This integration suite streamlines the process into your pre-existing ERP, PDM, and PLM systems. This enables more transparency in your product development process. Just imagine everybody in your ecosystem speaks the same language and shares the same information, always up to date and live available in the cloud. For companies in the ecosystem of industrial automation, the manufacturing process is where they spend most of the time and resources. So let's take a look into how we can streamline this process through our digital workflow. So as you can see here, we break down the manufacturing process into 7 sub-steps. And the good news is that EPLAN offers a proven concept that is backed up by a study conducted by a university in Germany that shows that we can decrease the manufacturing time in each and every step, totaling in a time reduction of up to 60% on the shop floor. We make this happen because, again, we use the same data from the previous work step of engineering. These high-quality data can directly be imported and used, for example, for CNC machines or to feed your people on the shop floor with a 100% digital-based wiring information. Our tool, Smart Wiring, enables this 100% digital workflow. It shows you from where to where your worker has to wire, what is the diameter, the size, the treatment of the ferrules. All this information you can have available on a tablet. If in case of revisions, of course, EPLAN enables also a fully digital workflow. To monitor the performance of your team, feel free to use the Smart Wiring Operations Monitor. Now we have discussed the engineering, sourcing and manufacturing processes in a digital workflow. But what is the most important part for the end customer or the end user in the ecosystem of industrial automation? Of course, it is the operations. So let's take a look how we can help you to reduce downtime, have a predictable maintenance process, and truly become digital in the step of operations. Let's talk about the operations and how this has an impact on our integrated value chain. I spoke about producing millions of cars before, but also I don't want to exclude you if you're producing continuous goods, so if you're in the process automation world. What do you need today to enable a streamlined operations workflow? Of course, first and foremost, if you want to ramp up a machine, it's all about supplier management. And I know supplier management is one of the most time-consuming tasks if you work in operations. So think about a concept where EPLAN can offer you data access via the cloud, and it's possible even for non-EPLAN users to make changes, revisions with redlining in the cloud. All of this is available through the web browser with our tool EPLAN eView. It's already available today in our EPLAN platform, so feel free to use this and become digital today. Thank you very much for your attention today. I hope you enjoyed the integrated value chain of EPLAN. I would like to offer you, of course, today to reach out here to our staff on the booth with all the questions you might have. In addition to this, we are available on social media and you can reach my colleagues across the globe through our webpage. Feel also free to leave me a message on LinkedIn if you get a chance. We offer a concept to put the integrated value chain into action today in your business, regardless if you're a small, medium-sized system integrator, OEM, or panel builder, or if you're a large operator who produces millions of cars. We have a concept to assess your current as-is situation and provide you with a concept to become digital today in terms of engineering, sourcing, manufacturing, and operations. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day at the Rockwell Automation Fair event 2020 at home. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Narelle Safi. I'm a technical consultant with EPLAN Software and Services. We hope you are enjoying Rockwell Automation Fair at home. Today, I am going to show you how you can digitalize your control system with EPLAN. Feel free to ask any question in the chat and we will get to those right away. Thanks again for joining us, and let's go ahead and get started.
This is digitalizing your control system, and we have Norel on the line. He's one of our application engineers, senior application engineer, and he's going to do this demo, this presentation for you. We also have Jennifer Payne, and her responsibility is our data portal and all the supplier information that's contained within that. I'll let Jennifer do a quick explanation of what the data portal entails, so you understand that before we get started with Norel on the demo. Thanks for coming.
Thank
Jennifer?
you, Roger.
Yeah.
Thank you. So as Roger just said, I am the business sales manager for Master Data. And so I am responsible for the data portal and working with manufacturers to join our digital catalog, where then we work with them to input their data, and we really work hard to achieve great data sets and depth of quality within the information we receive from them. And then that is uploaded onto the data portal, where then as a user, you're able to go in there and click and download the information into your projects. So I also work with we have a global team out of Germany, and currently we have over 300 suppliers on the data portal. We have recently launched our new EDS, what we call their EPLAN data standards, again, to encourage our manufacturers to provide the best quality data on our portal. So we appreciate you joining our demonstration today, and I will hand it over to Norel so he can show you what our system entails. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Norel Safi. I'm an application engineer with EPLAN. I have been with EPLAN for 3 years, a little bit over 3 years now. My responsibility is to do consulting, trainings, and pre-sales activities with our sales. I am very glad today to show you a little bit about EPLAN P8, more specific, and EPLAN as a platform in general. So thank you for attending, and let's get started. All right, so this is EPLAN. This is the EPLAN platform as a whole. If you take a look at the top right here, EPLAN, you're probably familiar with some of EPLAN menus, since EPLAN is written on a common Windows tool. So for example, some of these menus, for example, cut, copy, paste, and the shortcut that comes with it, it's a standard as a window standard. Also, EPLAN has its own shortcut and toolbars. So if you take a look, there's plenty of toolbars that's available when you install EPLAN, and also you can customize your own toolbars to make your design process more easy and more efficient. All right. You could put your toolbars here on the top to make it easy, or on the sides. This is all based on your preference. Now, EPLAN is a database-driven system. You don't have to do any database management. However, this is just an information for you to tell you that the entire project set up as a database at its core, and all the documents inside your project are connected together as one database. Think of it as an PowerPoint slides. So when I go ahead here and open one of my documents, so for example, the title page or the cover sheet, I'm not opening an outside file. I'm just opening this page inside my project, and I can easily navigate between my pages. Yeah, that saves me time and less errors and mistakes. So for example, here I have my title page. Another benefits of having the project as a one database is one source of entry. So I can put the information in one spot, and that information will distribute it on the entire project. So if we take a look at this example, for example, I'm going to change the company name here. Call this EPLAN. You can see that the changes took effect here on the top right away, and also at the bottom you can see here the company name changed. At any page that I open right now, these changes will be, or this update will take effect on that page. Now, as a user or as an engineer, you can start your design from any data that you have. So in EPLAN, there's 3 ways of designing by the symbol, designing by the device, and designing by predefined circuit. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead right here and just create a new page. So, as you can see, EPLAN automatically recognizes what's the next available page in there. I still have the possibility to go ahead and change that page number. So anywhere I can click here, it can tell me what is the next available one in that section. So I can go ahead, for example, and select here and say new. You can see that page 64 is the next available one in that section, or what's below it. I'm going to go ahead and give it a description. So I'm going to call this motors. Press OK. And here you can see it's a brand new page. The information that we entered at the beginning is still there. Yeah, and it will continue to be there the more we build on into this project. Just like I mentioned, engineer could start from any data that they have or any information that they have. If they decide to design by the symbol, since they don't know the part or the number or the device that they're going to assign at the moment, they could do that. If I go insert symbol in the top, you can see all these symbol libraries that EPLAN provide you with. These symbol libraries, you don't have to customize, you don't have to maintain. These comes with EPLAN, and it get updated every version installed. So with every new version, there's could be some new symbols. EPLAN will keep maintaining this to make it as easy as possible on the engineers to start their design. You can see it serves several standards. So here I can see the NFPA symbols in inches. I can see NFPA symbols in millimeters. I can see the IEC standard, which is the European standard symbol, graphic symbol libraries, and special symbol library. So let's say I want to design a motor circuit. Yeah? I'm going to go ahead and go to my power consumer. And as you can see, it's very well organized. I will not get lost in menus or search bars. All I need to do is think about the symbol that I need to place, and I can easily target it. You can see here's the motor circuit, more motor sections, and you can see it's even filtered based on the connection points that's in that motor. So if I go more into this tree, I can see, for example, this motor, yeah, and I can see the description of this motor. So let's say I decided to select this motor, yeah, while this motor is attached to my cursor, yeah, I can click the tab key and rotate between all the 8 variants that this motor has. Once I'm satisfied with this motor position, I could just go ahead and click automatically EPLAN will recognize where this motor is placed and give it a unique device tag. This is based on your company settings. So if your settings is different than the NFPA standard, EPLAN will adopt these settings and insert it into your symbol data. So here, the settings that I have for this project is based on the row number and the identification of this symbol, which is MTR to represent as a motor. Once I press OK, these information will be displayed on my schematics. As you can see, here's my motor, and here's the row number that this motor is placed on. Just let me select my settings here. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so now I have my motor placed on my schematics. I can double click on this motor later on, probably find out which part I'm gonna assign to this motor. I can easily go to my part tab here and use the device selection tab, which is filter the entire database that I have and give me only motor parts. So if I go ahead into my device selection, you can see that EPLAN gives me 3 part motors. And these, not the only parts that's in my part database, these are the only motor parts that's in my part database. And usually engineers are very good in memorizing the part number because they use most of the time the same part again and again. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this motor, for example. Yeah. Once I select this motor and I press apply, all the parts data that's associated with this part will get attached to this symbol. So all the voltage, the voltage, the manufacturer data that's associated with this part will get applied into this symbol. Gonna press OK here, and you can see here's the data or the information that's in my motor. The more I put into this symbol, the more information will start displaying. I can make it a little bit more clear if I want. So if I go right here, yeah, and I don't need to duplicate these information, so easily I can just select one of these information instead of keeping one duplicated twice and so on. Now, this is the first method of designing with EPLAN, the most simple method of designing with EPLAN, which is designing by the symbol. Let's say I know exactly what's the part that I'm gonna insert on my schematic. Yeah, in this case, I can easily open my part database. Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my filter. I create a small filter here just for this demo. Yeah. And let's say I know the exact part that I'm gonna use for this design. I can easily drag and drop the part on my schematics, and you can see automatically EPLAN pick the correct symbol for this. Yeah, I don't have to go into my symbol library and search for that symbol. I could just go ahead and drag and drop the part, and the symbol will come with it. Yeah, as soon as I hover across from that motor, you can see that the connection is generating or get activated automatically. Yeah, once I am satisfied with the position across from that motor, I can just go ahead and place it, and you can see even if I move it around, these lines will get updated or these connection will get updated automatically. Yeah, so the most important thing is to keep them on a same level. That's if you want to maintain a straight line. If you want to change the direction, let's say this is a little bit below, you can use these T nodes or these T nodes or these angles to reroute the connection to make it connect to this motor overload. So here, just back to my point, here we designed by the device because I knew the part number that I'm going to place in this. And as you can see right here, all the parts data comes automatically. Yeah. So if you can see the part number stored right here, and you can see a picture of that device, all the information that comes from the manufacturer itself. Yeah, so I'm 100% sure that these information are correct. And when I generate my bill of material, I know that this device will be in my bill of material and with the correct information. Now, before I move to the third step or the third way of designing with EPLAN, I want you to take a look for a second right here. Yeah. When I hover over the connection, you can see that EPLAN gives me the source and the target for each connection. Yeah. And if I take you a step back, we assign a part number here and here. So what I'm doing at this moment, yeah, this is the question. Yes, I'm designing. However, EPLAN in the background doing tons of things for me. One of these things is building my connection report with a source and a target. Even the pen that it's attached to. So if I go to this one, it's connected to pin number 2. On the other side, it's connected to pin U1. So EPLAN, I'm doing one thing, and EPLAN in the background is doing tons of things. Also, EPLAN is building my bill of material. We assign part to these symbols, so it's doing my bill of materials in the background. So this is the benefit of having all your project as one database. Now let's continue building on this circuit. So I'm going to use the third way of designing with EPLAN. The third way of designing with EPLAN will be designing by macros or predefined circuits. So here I'm going to go ahead and place a phase power rail. Yeah, and I can, in the same macro, I can store several variations. So if I click the tab key, you can see I'm rotating between the two variants that this macro has. So I'm going to go ahead and select this variant. And once I click XY, EPLAN knows exactly where to enter this macro. Once I press OK to complete my action, you can see here automatically EPLAN generate these green text. So what is these green text? These green text is telling me that this power is coming from somewhere. So when I hold the control key and click on it, yeah, you can see that it took me to this page that tells me that the power rail that I just inserted, it's continuation of this connection. Yeah, same as here. When I click, I will go back to the page that we are creating together at the moment. Yeah, so I am showing you these things just to see the benefits of having the entire project database connected together. Now, once I'm satisfied with the power rail, I can easily connect it. Okay, I can easily connect it to the power rail just by dragging some T nodes. You can see easily placed, easily designed. Not so much effort to manage a connection here. Yeah, I'm going to continue building on this circuit by inserting more of this. Oops, sorry, wrong button. Right here. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do a power drop. And just like before, I'm going to use my X and Y. Yeah, and I'm going to ask EPLAN to number my devices based on the position that it's placed in. So you can see now that this device is numbered based on the position. So this is placed on 6410, and you can see the 6410 is got adopted here. I can go back and put a motor with a fan, just like so. And the devices are numbered automatically. And I'm gonna put a transformer right below it. You can see all these devices get numbered automatically except for these contacts. The reason these contacts not numbered yet, because they are not the main device. So it's waiting on the coil, the host of that, these contacts, so it can get associated with it and adopt the device tag of the main device. A quick example of that will be if I open another page here, for example. You can see here's my PLC page. I'm going to go ahead and place this coil just with the same method that we did before. Okay, and I can just easily drag some connection from here, place them right here. You can see that this coil now placed on my schematics. I can go ahead easily find my device navigator, which is, it's telling me where this device is located. You can see that the coil right here has several contacts that belongs to it. Yeah. Now these are available for me because I just placed my coil and they are available to be used. All I have to do is just drag and drop these just like so. I want to do them in a straight line. Just like so. And you can see that these, just make a screen bigger. Yeah, you can see that these get a cross-reference too. So it's telling me where are the main devices located and what they are part of which part. Yeah, and on the other side, of course, if I click right here, you can see the cross-reference for each contact on its own. So here I could go ahead and click on it. It's located 6405. Okay. All right. Continue building on this screen. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and place more of the predefined circuits. Yeah. However, in this circuit, I want to show the power technology of macros. Here I have a circuit of a motor that carries several variants of the same motor circuit. Yeah. So with the same circuit, I have up to 26 different variants, and each variant has different categories or values for the entire circuit. So here I'm going to place this circuit, and EPLAN automatically asking me what is the horsepower of this motor. So for example, I'm going to put a 10 horsepower for this one. Yes, number my devices. I can place the second one right here and say 25 horsepower, just to show you the difference between them. I'm going to place the third one here and put a 75 horsepower. And here, based on the horsepower of this motor, my entire circuit is getting updates. So if you take a look right here, this is a 10 horsepower motor. Yeah, the gauge of the wire is different. Yeah, and also the fuse right here is different as well. So here at 25 horsepower, it's 50 amp fuse. Yeah, with 8 gauge wire or cable. Excuse me. And here as well, so 10 horsepower with a 20 amp fuse. Let's say I made a mistake and this is not a 10 horsepower motor. I can easily right click and say assign a value set and just change that and say this is a 15 horsepower, and the entire circuit will get updated. This is the power of macro technology. You can customize your circuits however you want and eliminate tons of work and eliminate mistakes. All right, I will continue on this. You can see one schematics page took me less than 5 minutes to draw it all. You can see all the connections between my my schematics here, yeah, and not just the schematics, even the device itself right here, I can see the connections between them, yeah. So I'm 100% that I'm not missing or adding parts that don't need to be in my project or forget to delete. All these stuff is eliminated. Okay, now let's say I placed my circuits. My circuit is perfect. I need to number my wires. Yeah, I can go ahead easily and select a circuit or a page or entire project and go project data, connection, numbering, place. Just placing more of these connection definition points. I can select my circuit again and say connection enter designation. And you can see now that EPLAN numbering all your connection based on your standard. Yeah, based on your settings, based on your schemes, however you like to number them, EPLAN will do it for you. You can see here, this is the value what it was before, and now it will adopt the new number that's coming from your settings. You can, if you want, you can change that right now, or just leave it the way it is and press OK. You can see that each wire has, each wire has its own number. I've seen a question in the chat. Okay, is there a pre-built macro database to pull macros into a project? So we can, EPLAN, when you install EPLAN, we can provide you with some of the macros. So something like this to look at it and see how is it designed, what is the data behind it, and how it was configured. Yeah, every company is different, and EPLAN is a very wide platform. Yeah. We won't be able to make circuits for every individual companies. Yeah, so the macro is something that you design specifically for your company. So you are going to design a circuit anyway. Yeah, when you design your project or schematics, you will design your circuit anyway. It will be very easy once you complete your design. You have 100% sure, you are 100% sure that this circuit is perfect, and you think you're going to use it again. All you have to do is just select the circuit, yeah, just like so. Right click and create window macro, symbol macro. Once you do that, yeah, you can see here, you can specify the variant of this macro. You could tell it to be stored in your database. So I'm going to go ahead and call it this maybe XYZ, for example, and I'm going to put it in my, yeah, this is fine. I'm going to put it right here. Once I press OK, that's it. My macro is saved. You can see XYZ now is available for me. And here's all, here's the circuit, everything that I selected, even the connections. It was selected. You can see that this one is stored. I'm going to put it on the side right here so you can just see it. Yeah. And of course, all the configuration is stored with it. Yeah. So it's very easy. What it's gonna take time to build this macro database, yeah, but you design in your circuit anyway. Why not make a use of it for next time? So this is a very easy software to work with. It's not very complicated, yeah, and it will work very hand by hand with you to be more efficient. Okay, perfect.
Hey, Narelle, there is one other question. It says, please cover terminals. I have a hard time tracking the designation I have already used and often end up using the same terminal multiple times.
Okay, sure, no problem. I will do that. This question is, these things is very easy to solve in EPLAN. Yeah, so here, if you take a look, I have terminals. So the best thing or the magic about EPLAN, everything or most of the things that we have in EPLAN has its own terminal. So you can easily target it and see how it's acting into your project. Yeah, you can easily look at the terminal strip navigator. Yeah, and select any terminals you have on your schematics and say synchronize selection. Now watch the magic. Automatically EPLAN open that terminal strip for you in the navigator. You can see how is this terminal is acting in your project. If the designation, for example, if I double click on this terminal, which is what we open, yeah, if the designation is not what you want, yeah, you can easily select that terminal and say number terminals, yeah, and set up your own designation to achieve the goal that you're looking for. Also, if you take a look at maybe if I have, we'll give it a shot. I will open this one just to see. You can see if I open my edit in table window, I can see all my terminals. I can jump my terminals, yeah, without even showing it on the schematics. I can show it on my schematics, or if I don't want to show it on my schematics, I can do that as well. I can jump my terminals. Now these two terminals are jumped together, yeah. I can keep track of my terminals, where they are connected. Of course, this table is also modified, so you can add more information into this table or delete information from that table. It's up to you, yeah. But here, the information that's available for us at this moment, and you can see all the terminals right here with no issues. Yeah, you can also your designation right here as well, number it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just show you a quick one. I'm gonna start with value number 1 and increment as simple as that. Yeah, you can see right now it's 1, 2, 3. The PE is remained unchanged. That's because when I number it, I say PE do not modify, leave it the way it is. Yeah, if I say number it, it will go under that. Yeah, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way to 12. Yeah, and you can also say I want to number them page based, like sorting, cable based, all these good stuff. That's all depends on your settings. I'm going to cancel. I don't want to save my action. Yeah, and this is how easy you can manage your terminals in EPLAN. And of course, these things is the terminal subject is very, very wild. It will not be covered during this demo session, but EPLAN offers many trainings. So we have the basic trainings, and we have a class specifically for terminal where we go over multi-level terminals, terminals with settle jumpers, all these good stuff. EPLAN will back you up with trainings and consulting to be more efficient. And once you are satisfied with the circuit or the way the terminal looks, just like I mentioned, it's as simple as selecting the circuit, right click, create a window macro, just like we did a minute ago. Okay, all right, let's continue. Now, I'm done with my design. Let's say I am completed with my design, and it's time for me to harvest all this good work that I put into my project. If you remember at the beginning when I said EPLAN is doing tons of things in the background. Yes, you design in a circuit, but EPLAN in the background is building your connection list, your bill of material, all this good stuff. Now, there's two ways you can see reports in EPLAN. One, when you generate it within the project. The other one, when you export these reports as a PDF or export it as an Excel file. So the first one we're going to go over is generating reports within EPLAN. So I can go Utilities Report Generate, and here's the list of reports that EPLAN can generate. Yeah, you can see tons of reports available for you. So for example, PLC addresses overview, PLC cards overview. This is a very important report that customers ask for this because it will help them a lot for the when they troubleshoot or build in their cabinets. Terminals connection diagram, terminal strip overview, or maybe connection list or cable overview, summarize part list, which is the bill of material. Yeah, all these good stuff, it's available for you. Now, for this specific project, I only picked these specific reports. So I don't want to overcrowd my project. I wanted to make it as simple as possible so you can see the result easier. So I'm going to select my project and click the gear and watch the magic. Yeah. Just take a couple of seconds to run through the entire project, and that's it. Once I close this window, you probably notice that EPLAN added some more sections here. We're going to go one by one with these sections. Yeah, so if I double click on any of these bill of materials, for example, you can see the part number, the order number, the quantity of that part, the description. Even if there is a picture associated with this device, EPLAN will show it to you. Manufacturers, and if there's a link attached to that, if there's a link attached to that part, you can see now when I clicked on the link, it took me to the part itself. Yeah, this is all these information. It's up to you if you want to show it. So these reports are fully customized. You don't have to stick with this. But when you install EPLAN, yeah, EPLAN gives you tons of forms. Like you can look at it and see if you like it or no, or probably add some modification to it. Yeah, so in this specific form, it shows the part number and the order number, the quantity description, and so. Yeah, this is in the bill of material. So this is the entire bill of material list for the project. Yeah, now here's the cable reports. We have a cable overview. Yeah, which just shows me every cable and the length of each cable, and cable diagrams. Here we specifically targeted each cable, how many conductors in each cable. So let me pick a good one. They're all good, but I want to make sure that we get one that's have more informations. Yeah, that's of course depends on the part that you assign to the cable. Yeah, here you can see the source and the target for each cable. You can see here if the end attachment to that cable, the color of that cable. Yeah, and here you can see the cable device tag showing of that cable. Yeah, if I click on this cable, of course, it takes me to where's this cable is placed on my schematics, so I can see all my connections. Yeah. Okay. Now let's get to to the terminal reports. So we have two type of reports here. Terminal strip overview. You can see all the terminal strip that's in your project, and a terminal diagram where each terminal specifically on its own You can see also, when it show, it has more details. So for example, like this one, yeah, you can see if there is a text surrounding that, or function text surrounding that, the terminal. You can see the target designation. If these terminals are jumped together, or if there's a two terminals that's jumped together, you can see the jumper on your report. You can also look where this terminal is placed on your schematics as well. Yeah, just like we did with the cable. Now, one of my favorite reports is the wire list. So the wire list here, it's individually showing you each wire or each connection that's in your schematics with the source. If I zoom in just to so you can get a better view of this, yeah, the source and the target for each connection, the length of this connection, the color of this, the number, and the end termination of this connection. So imagine instead of going through a 10,000 page project to build a cabinet, you have this connection list where it's telling you exactly where this wire is going to do, exactly what's the gauge of this wire, and the length of this wire. And you can just one by one go in from the source to the target and build in your panel easily. One last thing I want to show you, or before we end the session, when we were looking at the cables, or when we were looking at the schematics that we built together, we saw the connections between the devices. And for example, if you remember this coil right here, we saw the connection between this coil and its children, or the contact that belongs into this coil, right? So this applies on the entire project of EPLAN. So if you take a look at the top right here, we probably didn't go through all of this, but I will go through it with you. You can see all my schematics, my fluid diagrams, my PNID, all is in one project, yeah? And all these PNID symbols are, or loops, connected somehow. If there's a sensor or a valve, it's connected somehow to the fluid diagrams or to the electrical drawings. So for example, if I take a look at cable topology, which is representing the entire system here, I can see a proximity switch or a motor right here, and that motor takes me to where is it located into my schematics. So I can design my entire system into EPLAN, and that representation will be showing me the schematics and the overview of that symbol or that part. Here I can see the system overview page, yeah, and I can click and see, for example, this is a proximity switch that's located here. Yeah, I can click on that proximity switch and easily see how is it wired in my electrical drawing. Yeah, so the entire project data will be stored as one database in one project. So you don't have to keep opening file again and again. All of that is stored in one project. Another thing is your 3D representation also is included into your project. So if I go ahead here and open my 3D navigator, you can see my hydraulic flow system, and I can see my main control panel. I can open my main control panel just like so. Yeah, take a look at my control panel, move it around and see what's inside it. And of course, I can show my my mounting panel, I look at these devices that's in my mounting panel. So if I have a device here, I can highlight that device and click the F key on my keyboard, and it will take me to my schematics and tell me where's this device is wired in my schematics. Yeah, I can look at my control panel as a whole and see if all my components is fitting in one cabinet or no, or if I need more adjustment, or maybe I need a smaller control panel or a bigger control panel. Yeah, this is all done with ProPanel. With the next session, my colleagues, he will go over ProPanel and what's benefits of ProPanel. Yeah, and he will show you the connection between ProPanel and P8 and what type of data we can export out of ProPanel. Also, before I end this session, out of these 3D representation, I can extract my 2D. Yeah, here I can see the 2D representation of my control panel, and this is generated automatically. You don't have to put any efforts in it. You can see here the drilling pattern, and here I can see my control panel with the enclosure legend. You can see the bubbles for each device and the description. I really don't want to show you how I can generate these automatically because I want you to go ahead and join my colleague's session for later, and he will show you tons of things that EPLAN Pro Panel could do for you. You can go and help about, and you can, help content, yeah. And here you can see that EPLAN open the help file for you, and you can type in anything in the search field, and EPLAN will filter that for you. You can see the news of EPLAN, an overview of EPLAN, and here it's very well divided in sections. Here, the common functionality that EPLAN, here's ProPanel functionality, specifically for ProPanel, Fluid, pre-planning, and EPLAN View. Not least, I will go over on how to export reports out of EPLAN. Now, we saw the generation of EPLAN reports inside the project. Now, how can, if I'm interested to see a bill of material as an Excel file, how can I do that? Is it easy with EPLAN? Which type of information I can see or view in the Excel file? I can easily do that by selecting the project or a page or a section. Yeah, go into Utilities, Manufacturing Data, Export Labeling, and here I can see that this is a settings that it's stored for me. I can say I need a bill of material or a connection list if there is any, or a cable diagram. It's up to you, whatever you want to export. Yeah, but this time is one at a time. We can't generate the entire report sections in once. So now I'm just gonna do the bill of material as once, and I'm gonna say export and start application. And you can see here, I can see the name of the project on the top, and you can see the properties here: part number, order number, total amount, number of units, manufacturer name, and designation, which is a short description. Yeah, here's all my part number, order number. So sometimes the part number or the number that you send to the manufacturer is different than the part number that you use in EPLAN. And here's the total amount, the manufacturer name, and the designation. And all these information is stored in your database, and it only filtered the one that's used in your project. Yeah. Now the question is, how is these part came into your part database or came into your project at the first place, right? So this is a, do you create them yourself, or how is that happening? Yeah, I will let my colleague Jennifer answer this question, and I will go ahead and demonstrate it. Go ahead, Jennifer.
So then this is where you would want to go ahead and launch the EPLAN data portal, and which is embedded already into our software. So as Narelle says, then you can, once you're registered as a user, then you can manually, then you can search with, for either, there's different ways that you can search parts, or you can, if you know the manufacturer that you're looking for specifically, then you can go down to find the manufacturer name, and then you can go ahead and click on a manufacturer. So which one did, okay, we're going to choose Allen Bradley. And then you would scroll down to the product family that you're looking for. And in this case, you're talking about the circuit breaker, right? And then you go ahead and click on it. And then it gives you all the information that is available for this particular component. So if you go down to the features, you're going to see that this particular manufacturer is offering what we like to say different data depths. So we have commercial data, we have 2D information, and then we have a connection point or a function template, from what I can see on there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yep. And then you're able to click this and then add it into your parts database if you would like to use it. So again, this is directly embedded into the our software. So this is really another unique feature that sets us apart from other people out, other types of software out there, is that, again, we work directly, that's the master data team works directly with our manufacturers to gather this information and compile it already as complete data sets, so then that you're able to then click and download it directly already into your project here. And you can import it directly as Narelle is showing. So again, this is a great benefit, again, to show that it saves time, not having to go and search. Really, that's the idea of the data portal, so that you can find and not have to search for product information and component information.
And all you have to do is import this once into your internal library or internal database, and then you can use it as many times as you want. So you don't have to go into the data portal and import this part every time you want to use it. You can, but this is the more efficient way is to import it once, and it will live into your internal part library as long as you want it, unless you go ahead and delete it. Yeah. And this is the benefit of having the data portal. The data portal, just like my colleague Jennifer said, all the parts on the data portal, the manufacturer, the mother manufacturer of these parts are the one who maintain these parts. They are the one who check these parts, put these data into these parts, design the macro of these parts, the 3D graphic of this part. So you are 100% sure that most of these information are correct because they are coming from the manufacturer. You can also rate the parts. So if you see something that's abnormal of this part, you can rate this part, and you can send your rating to the manufacturer, and I'm going to rate it as excellent or remove my rating, and I can send reports to that manufacturer and say, hey, can you check this? This information is not available, or maybe it needs to be modified or something. Or if you see a manufacturer or a part that should be on the data portal and it's not on the data portal, my colleague Jennifer is the account manager for the data portal. She's responsible for that. You can send her an email and she will communicate with that manufacturer to see if they can add these parts to the data portal.
I hope you enjoyed the demo. Be sure to stop by our EPLAN Experience booth at the Rockwell Automation Fair at home.
Engineering is going through a real revolution. Cloud computing, the Internet of Things, and data integration have a huge impact on industrial production systems. An efficient exchange of digital data between the different engineering phases is necessary to prevent disruption. If you want to work efficiently, you must think in an integrated way. That starts in the concept phase. Thanks to the digitization and modularization of engineering data, you can immediately start with conceptual design. This smart customization ensures substantial time savings, better estimable offers, and sharper delivery times. Smart engineering stands for a smart connection of electrical, mechanical, and software data. Thanks to one virtual prototype, everyone speaks the same language. It opens the door to smart production. The digital twin with 3D info and other smart data ensures smooth communication between man and machine. The better and more accessible information is built up in the concept, engineering and production phases, the less time you'll lose later on in case of downtime. You can also store everything in the cloud, so everyone has direct access to the right digital data at any given time. It's crystal clear. Working in an integrated way creates added value, shortens the lead time of your projects, and reduces downtime in case of a breakdown. This way you create a great added value for your product. Do you want to know how you can do this? The different solutions within the EPLAN platform support you towards an integrated engineering and production process. Your digital transformation with EPLAN.
Digital data has become a primary focus for product development and production, with manual and automated processes of panel building. Having standardized and digitally provided data is becoming a necessity. User errors are expensive, and implementing the correct set of wiring can be tedious and oftentimes daunting. With the help of virtual prototyping, access to creating a digital footprint of wiring is now possible. From the connections to the best routing path, EPLAN Smart Wiring creates a virtual layout that provides shop floors with all the necessary information in a 3D digital format. Data can be passed along to different departments seamlessly. Whether it's a manual or fixed installation, wiring information is available to the design department via email. What else can smart wiring do? With the help of a smart device, you can access EPLAN Smart Wiring and receive detailed step-by-step instructions for easy implementation. Wiring can be completed without schematics or layouts, and connections can be recorded using the traffic light principle. In addition to creating a transparent guideline, smart wiring also helps avoid mistakes in real time. By running an automatic project comparison, last-minute changes are now possible. Using EPLAN Pro Panel, Smart Wiring and eView will give you a 45% time savings in wire preparation and project completion. To learn more about how to save on cost and time through automation, visit us at info.eplanusa.com/wiring 4.0.
everyone. Thank you so much for joining our EPLAN Live channel here at the Rockwell Automation Fair at Home. We hope you're enjoying your day. Today, our conversation is focused around being partners in success. So today we have our guest, who is Jeff Kilburn, Managing Director from EPLAN, Özlem Bieber, who is Account Manager at EPLAN, and Jim Armstrong, who is the Automation Manager at Revere Electric. Revere Electric is a powerhouse distributor and partners of Rockwell Automation. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to the team to let them introduce themselves and get started.
So thank you. I'm Jim Armstrong, Automation Manager at Revere Electric.
Yeah, Jeff Kilburn here, EPLAN Managing Director, EPLAN USA.
And I'm Özlem Bieber, I'm Account Manager at EPLAN USA. And I'll get us started here, and I'll start with you, Jim. EPLAN and Revere Electric has been partners for the better part of the year, and Revere Electric is actually EPLAN's one of first channel partners. And so can you, for our audience, can you give us an introduction to Revere Electric and its mission?
Yeah, thanks, Özlem. Revere Electric is a fourth generation family-owned business, a distributor, electrical distributor with 10 locations. We serve Northern Illinois, primarily northeastern Illinois, Northwest Indiana, South Central Wisconsin, so kind of the Chicagoland, Milwaukee markets. We have a broad line of manufacturers, 300 plus manufacturing lines that we carry. One of our premier lines, and Debbie mentioned it at the core of the intro, is we're a Rockwell authorized Rockwell Automation distributor. How we differentiate ourselves in the market is we're a solution-centric provider. You know, being that we're not a Rockwell distributor, automation is at our core, correct? But we also provide solutions on inventory management, motion control, safety, connected enterprise, green, and switchgear and lighting. So pretty broad base. And we serve a real mix of customers, OEMs, system integrators, and end users. Our mission at the end of the day is to deliver innovative, industry-leading, customer-centric solutions, really with our products and services to the industrial automation and electrical construction market. And we're excited to be a partner with EPLAN, because our partnership with EPLAN, when you look at what I just said and how it fits into our value proposition to our customers, we're excited about that. And you're right, we've had a very exciting 6 months, kicking it off last spring, right? So very excited.
Absolutely, it's been a great ride for sure. And Jeff, I know you had a prior relationship with Revere Electric before coming to EPLAN during your 25-year successful tenure at Rockwell Automation. Can you tell us a little bit about what was your strategy for approaching to Revere Electric to become our channel partner, and why did you think that the two companies made a great match?
Yeah, well, I've known many of the great leaders at Revere Electric and for a long time, for virtually my entire career at Rockwell. And even in my time with sales, I got even tighter with them because I supported the state of Wisconsin and really got to know the organization as a whole. And so I had this, obviously this, pretty good impression of a highly valuable partner in the market. You know, Revere is a premier organization. I think the whole market recognizes that. And certainly with EPLAN becoming one of the founding members of Rockwell's digital partner program, it really made a lot of sense to have a common partner in the market like Revere Electric. And having a relationship with a lot of their leaders just made it a natural place to start. And so we started talking with the team, I guess it was a year ago last summer. And as we started having the dialogue about the value that EPLAN provides to the customers in the automation market, and what Revere was trying to do and has been doing for a long time in the way of, virtually the support is unparalleled. It's virtually 24/7, 365, and they're a trusted partner of many customers in the market, and they're a market leading organization. I'd say a market making organization. And so for all of those reasons, it made sense strategically to discuss this with them. And as we went about that, one of the things that became evident very quickly was, and Jim can comment on this, I'm sure, is that Revere was already on the path of helping their customers figure out how to do this digital transformation. It's an overused term. Yeah, we all know that, but it's a fairly accurate state of the market. And there are a lot of customers are, we're seeing them recognize the value of EPLAN every day. But we just felt that with a partner like Revere, we could accelerate that effort. And with their relationships as a trusted partner in so many companies and their markets, that it was kind of a match made in heaven. And yeah, we signed the documents just as COVID hit. So lucky have it as it is. But I think it's still been a good start for us, and we're looking forward to the future. And I think for me, another piece of it was too just the whole, like I said, the Rockwell Digital Partner Program, but knowing the value. Rockwell's made a huge investment in their data sets within EPLAN on EPLAN Data Portal, and having a partner in Revere that can take the power of EPLAN, the power of the Rockwell data set, the value we can provide, and pulling it all together for a customer. And with their expertise and what they deliver in the automation space, with all their knowledge about Rockwell and how they help customers in the market, it just made sense. Yeah.
Well, we complement the data set by having specialists. We have multiples of specialists that support all the different Rockwell products alone. There's other products in the data portal as well, but there's product selection. There's access into the portal, but it's, we also help with the selection of the products that get put into the design, the supply of the products. I mentioned the 10 warehousing locations. So not only having a product in a design, but is it available, readily available, and we have questions about it, how to use it. That's sort of that partnership. I'm glad you brought up the digital partner program and all the technology that's coming out from TTC through Rockwell. We're still learning in that area a lot. I think all of our customers are learning, but we're really hoping and helping our customers lead. We're leading that dialogue with them to help move them down that digital journey. So we were excited that you approached this. I think it all kind of came to head a little bit last year at Automation Fair, with several discussions with your executive leadership and our executive leadership that I think really helped see what could be done. And like you said, we did a lot of work a year ago, a little less than a year ago, and then last spring hitting the ground running with a signed agreement. So I did want to kind of make a comment that I do think that the partnership, I mentioned the solution sales focus beforehand, and one of the things that when we think about our customer base, we have a deep engagement with our customer base with 40 plus account managers, which is a pretty strong sales force. But in terms of our technical team, we have between the Milwaukee markets and Chicago markets 30 plus automation specialists. So that's 70 some odd sales folks out there. And part of our task between myself and Jeff and Özlem on this phone is to really build that amplifier about what can be done. What can be done, what value can we bring to our customers given our combined efforts. So we're excited about it, and thank you for thinking of Revere and having these discussions so that we're now partners in this market.
Absolutely. I know that data portal is a huge value to our customers in terms of saving them time when it comes to creating part data, and Rockwell being one of the major contributors to data portal, that's all the more, makes that value all the more important for our customers. But there's one other aspect of our partnership that I think brings a good value and synergies to our customers, and that's the PLC data integration. And Jim, can you talk about a little bit how EPLAN and Revere Electric partnership actually helps our mutual customers with their PLC data integration and with hardware designs in EPLAN and PLC data integration in Studio 5000 and IAB.
So we have PLC specialists as being a Rockwell distributor, and so they're engineers that are in the market. They help customers every day determine what the appropriate hardware is, but also helping them with software. And what's kind of neat about EPLAN is it really ties in a couple elements of that PLC automation programming environment. One is Integrated Architecture Builder. We call it IAB. That's an early step in a controls process where you select everything from your controller to your network devices. You can check network traffic, things like that, things of that nature. Well, EPLAN offers a link for IAB to be imported into EPLAN to give the hardware designer a head start into what those preliminary thoughts were into the actual hardware design. But what's cool, again, about EPLAN is while you're doing your hardware, you create your I/O and your tags, your physical links to the physical world, but those can get translated into Studio RS Logic's the programming environment. And there's so what EPLAN does, along with with the Rockwell ties and our specialists, really kind of makes that a cohesive design process from concept to programming. And what's we're excited about is we have a plan at Revere, Robert Janosiak. He's our EPLAN specialist, EPLAN leader. But what's neat about the IAB linkage, or the IAB and the linkage with Logix, is that it also pulls in all of our PLC HMI folks. So the folks that are traditionally selling control logics, compact logics, panel views, and helping customers with programming, they're actually helping sell and helping support EPLAN with customers as well, because we're going to show, and we're showing customers how to save time throughout that whole process from concept to programming. I know Jeff mentions it, and we talk about it before, that what we're excited about EPLAN is the whole from what do we call it, concept to commissioning, Jeff, is it? Or
Yep.
It helps that whole process out. And that, to me, is a great example of where the technologies help that out. The technology, but also the personal touch, the personal support from the wide range of specialists that we have.
And I think that's, to your point, Jim, that's really I think the power of working with Revere is that you guys can bring that whole value stream together with Rockwell and EPLAN. And, we can talk all day long. You can show the customers that. You're there in geography. You've got the specialists with all of the knowledge, both on the Rockwell side as well as the EPLAN side now, with building up Robert's expertise. And you can really expand that reach to help the customers, from like you said, that initial concept to commissioning, even into a maintenance, and we've shown that, but you guys can really make it, I guess, jump off the page with the customer, that they can comprehend what we're talking about now. And it really expands, I think, and this was the interesting part when we approached you guys. It was interesting to see that you were already trying to do that, to reach earlier with the customers. You talked about selection, but there's this whole area of engineering of the design before it gets down to part selection that EPLAN can provide a lot of value. And now you guys can help the customers realize that. And, Rockwell calls it the digital thread. And I think there's value in that, because today, and for the last, I don't know how many decades, I've been in this business a long time, as have you, Jim, been doing this for a while. And, customers are using various tools, but there's often opportunities where You have to either translate it via it's, from the electrical design to the PLC design or back and forth, and keeping those in sync, even if you're the same person, is a real challenge. And having that connection between EPLAN and Studio 5000 or EPLAN and IAB on the planning side, we're able to make that bi-directional and adds tremendous value to customers that they don't have to worry is the PLC in sync with the electrical schematic design and vice versa. And I think you guys, again, you bring it all together for a customer and help them realize the value that we talk about every day here at EPLAN.
Yeah,
For
that's
sure.
for sure. Because one of the comments that I frequently get from our customers is that, needless to say, the PLC code, right, the programming gets updated on the factory floor first, but then, updating the hardware designs kind of fall on the wayside, right? So even after installation and post-installation, this is a way for companies to synchronize their, again, hardware designs in EPLAN and PLC programming in Studio 5000.
For sure. I mean, we could go on for an hour about all the other features, but I think that really hits home in terms of resonating about the features functionality within EPLAN, but that tie into the whole system. The system is bigger, so good. It's good, and we're excited about pushing the envelope there even further and really helping folks that are using EPLAN today to understand and gain that value, but also customers that aren't using EPLAN to make them aware of benefits that they can gain by moving to EPLAN.
Yeah. So ever since EPLAN became an Encompass partner with Rockwell Automation back in 2008, this is the first year the Automation Fair is being held virtually. So it speaks to the times that we're operating in, right? A lot of companies, due to the pandemic, had to reevaluate every aspect of their business, how they're conducting their business, and find ways to, especially in our industry, find ways to cut time and cost in engineering design and panel build, stay connected with their collaborators and all the stakeholders, and also continue to get vendor support when they need it and where they need it. So I know, Jeff, we had to pivot very quickly, didn't we, to adjust?
Yes, we did. Yeah, Aslam, it really, as we all know, it changed all our personal lives as well as our business lives, and we're still fighting our way through this change. But as time's gone on, at first it was a kind of a very, not kind of, it was an extremely reactionary mode. And just as an example here at EPLAN, we had to pivot from in classroom training, and that's all we did, in classroom training and consulting with our customers, either at on their premises or at one of our locations, to completely virtual environment. So our virtual instructor-led training has been extremely successful. We actually made a promise to our customers that try it. If you don't like it, we'll reschedule you for an on-site training. This was early on at the time. And virtually nobody's taken advantage of that. Even as some of the restrictions lessened a little bit over time, everyone is very excited. In fact, the feedback's been, we got really a lot out of this training, maybe more than an in-person, because it felt more one-on-one, more it was faster to execute the training. So we didn't have to organize everyone getting to one location. And we got more one-on-one time with the instructor because it was virtual and we could ask questions and we could have sidebars. And so we took really a quick reaction to this, pivoted very quickly, and what we found is this is the way forward. And we intend to do virtual training. We'll go on site or have our classroom trainings as the situation, hopefully, knock on wood, changes for us all. But virtual instructor-led training is going to be a big part of our future. When I think about and talk to customers about the challenges that they're having in their business, it's a lot of the same thing. How do we pivot really quickly? And there's been customers, a lot of customers come to us, we need to execute an automation project or change our manufacturing. We need to develop, start building face masks or face shields or whatever it was. So there was a lot of that. Even some people in the paper market had to build toilet tissue for a while because you all remember the shortages we had. So
Right.
it was a lot of customers were also going through their own pivot, and what we saw was the challenges that were always there got a little bit more exposed with this. So challenges in working remotely and staying on the same page, whereas you could have a meeting and sit side by side on a table and look over a set of drawings or review the PLC program. You now had to do that all virtually. And so it put some burden on their entire organizations to, and I'd say broader, at EPLAN, we talk about the ecosystem of industrial automation. It's really, all the players from the end user or operator that's running a factory to the OEMs and integrators that help them, and whoever's building the electrical cabinets, to the component and automation suppliers like Rockwell Automation, to the channel like Revere. How do you keep all of those people in sync with each other? And so one of the things that we saw, and we've done a lot of, marketing around, is the capabilities we have in the cloud. And we were building these from the beginning, but they became more important for certain customers, and the ability to have that environment and that digital thread with Rockwell in a cloud environment to be able to share that became extremely valuable. And we've seen a lot of customers recognize that, and I guess the whole COVID thing has really been a catalyst for change. A lot of customers were thinking of this, but business has its own momentum, and this was a disruptor thrust upon us. And now we're seeing customers really embrace that change and think about, how do we do this in the future? How do we change the way we behave? And so we've seen it in our own business, and we see it now in our customers' business as well.
Well, certainly, it certainly causes you to rethink what you're doing. I give, right when we signed the agreement, in March, April, that's when all the stay-at-home orders were hitting.
Right.
And so a lot of our customers are, the engineers are working from home. Revere Electric warehousing stayed fully functional. We are a company that was allowed to stay open because of supporting vital businesses, food,
An essential company. Yeah.
Essential business, correct.
Yep.
So our warehouses have stayed fully functional throughout. But other than that, everybody went remote, which put a lot of pressure on, like you said, the digital connectivity, Teams, and things like that. And so, but what I found exciting was when it came to sharing EPLAN's capabilities with customers. Özlem and I did a lot of Teams meetings with customers, and we were able to pull in resources from Michigan and from other locations that in some ways we've had more brain power at our customer meetings than maybe traditionally, right? We get a call, when are you guys coming in from Michigan? But because of stay-at-home orders and things like that, we can pull in a lot of resources, and we've had some great discussions and great demonstrations with customers. So that's a positive, right? The hard part is, and it has been a challenge, that when you're sitting across the table from somebody, you can see body language, and you can see, so there's a change that way. But like you said, moving forward, it'll probably be a nice mixture. I think nice mixture of in-person, but also people are more open to digital types of meetings, Teams and WebEx. But the other thing that I think it does hit home is, you mentioned it, Jeff, the digitalization of processes, whether it be sharing information over the cloud, just sharing information with a common design architecture that's not spreadsheets and disjointed processes. Being able to share a design digitally, becomes seamless when engineers and panel manufacturers in different locations. So that part's been good, and I think we're positioned well to have those discussions with customers. You know, that this is an advantage for using EPLAN and partnering with EPLAN and Revere to as you mentioned at your engineering design ecosystem. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Well said.
So as we're about to wrap up here, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the current trends in the automation industry, and I was wondering what you guys are seeing in terms of, you know, what trends you're seeing out there, and our mutual customers should be paying attention to. Jeff, you want to start us?
Yeah, I mean, the trends are, I kind of mentioned it before. There is a trend, and it toward the cloud. Certainly, there's a lot of customers that have a different viewpoint on that. But look at our own personal lives, where we've got our own banking in the cloud, for instance. So on a personal level, we're getting more and more used to it, and I think the USA as a country in particular is on the forefront of a lot of that technology. And so we see that as, a natural trend. Not everyone's there yet, but we're ready there at EPLAN. We're building more and more capabilities, and we see that as a long-term trend, and it just enhances the collaboration. If I look at today's environment, we email a lot of stuff back and forth, as Jim said, drawings and spreadsheets to execute an automation project. Is that secure? So you can, some people talk about the security piece, but I think it's a moving target, and this again is, I think, this situation is a catalyst for change. It enables a lot of customers to do that, to do a faster, which is really important. Certainly was important in the early days here, but it's always a challenge to do things at a faster pace. And so we see that as one of the key trends in the marketplace. And our goal is to be ready when our customers are ready. And we already have a lot to bring to bear. And working with a partner like Revere, I think helps us also to introduce that new technology and to talk them through their concerns, because people are rightly concerned about intellectual property and who has access to this, and and having a strong partner in the market that's a trusted advisor, like I said before, in Revere, makes all the sense in the world as customers are trying to figure that out for themselves. Yeah, one of the terms we use here at EPLAN is the digital twin. With our ProPanel part of our solution, we offer customers a way to very quickly and efficiently develop a 3D model of their panel. And what that allows is a lot of customers to then step into the automation of panel building. So maybe, Özlem, you could share a few thoughts about that trend in the marketplace.
No, that's so true, Jeff, because Jim, really, this too, especially in our conversations with our customers. We always talk about the time and cost savings, not during the design, but also in the panel shop as well, right? And digital twin is a way for companies to really virtually validate the enclosure that they're going to build before they actually build it, right? Make sure that all the spacing issues are taken into consideration. The doors will close. They'll see exactly how everything fits, but that's not where they really they need to stop. There's so valuable information captured both in the schematics and also the enclosure, the 3D enclosure layout that they can now use in production of that enclosure. So two of the ways that they can do is, and we're seeing many companies really considering, and quite a few of them actually have gone in this way, is to automate the enclosure modification, because when they're using EPLAN, they can actually capture that drilling data in their 3D enclosure layout. And then this data can be exported out and then imported into a CNC machine, laser jet cutting machine or water cutting machine. And then, so that information, once it's important to import it into these equipment, then, the enclosures can be modified automatically in these equipment. So that's a lot of time and cost savings as opposed to doing things manually. And speaking of using manual methods when building enclosures, and I see this all the time when I walk into panel shops, that many companies are using all manual methods to fabricate their wires, right? Cut, strip, crimp, label, measure the lengths, and they don't really need to do that. They don't even need to look at the schematics to capture all that information. It all can be printed out for them in a report format, but for more automated processes, they can actually export all this information, wire fabrication information, out of EPLAN into their wire fabrication equipment. And so they don't have to manually enter this information, and certainly don't have to look through schematics. So these are, I think, the couple of trends that we're seeing, and panel builders really should look into more about it and consider to stay competitive, and in terms of saving time and cost on the panel shop.
That's right on the money, Aslam. I think, when I looked at panel building while I was inside Rockwell and now talking to all these customers, the numbers you'll see is that wiring, it represents about 60% of the cost of putting together an electrical panel. And so it's significant. And what you just described, I think, you can talk about a digital twin as a trend, but what's the value to the customer? And I think you pretty much nailed it. And they see that. And I think, Jim, you've seen that now that you've been interfacing with us together with the customers, that they see high value in this panel operations. Yeah.
And we're getting more and more requests for our panel modifications. We have in our warehouse in our facility in the Milwaukee area, we have a Steinauer machine that allows somebody to send us panel modification information. And our usages, we're seeing that go up.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing activity there. So good points, Aslam. We talked about one of them just before, the whole remoteness. So that's probably as big a trend that was maybe forced upon us,
Right.
The one I guess one I would highlight that we're seeing is, and I call it panel build strategies, however you want to phrase it. I think the way that a OEM or a machine builder maybe used to do machines, they would probably focus to do it all in-house, right? They do their design and their panel builds. And I think that we're seeing panel build strategies evolve, change. People are buying fully assembled panels from a panel shop. People are still doing it in-house. People are doing a combination. Revere is heavily engaged in that whole panel build strategy, panel build, how to go from, again, concept to commissioning. We offer panel modification services. We have services in general, engineering services, design, some design services, and the ability to help with commissioning. And I think the more digital that you are, the easier it is to share information. And so we're seeing, again, I guess I just kind of summarize it with, I think how panels are built or how machines are actually built by an OEM is changing. It's people are having others do a lot more of the work, but even at a single OEM, it may be a mixture, where they do some in-house and farm some stuff out of house. So I think that's a big trend, and maybe that goes a little bit in line with just the general trend in the market about either aging workforce, aging engineering workforce, and just technical folks in general, that you're needing to leverage folks outside of your organization. And I think tools like EPLAN really help with that, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for having this great conversation. Thank you everybody for joining us today at EPLAN Live. If you have any questions, you can absolutely go to either of our booths at the Rockwell Automation Fair at Home, the EPLAN booth, or the Revere Electric booth, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm Johnny Wilson, and welcome to the August edition of the top 5 questions that was submitted to the EPLAN Solution Center. How can I draw a structure box with a recess? So I've got 2 structure boxes. The one on the left shows the designation in the structure box recessed with 90 degrees here. So how do I make the one on the right look like the same? So we need to check some settings first. So if you go to the options, and then settings, and then we're just going to go to the project and then the name of the project, and then in graphical editing under the general tab, we want to make sure the draw structure box with the recess is checked. So once that is done, then I just double click on the structure box and then I change the value from the left top outside at 0 degrees to the left top inside at 90 degrees like so. So if I click OK, then you can see that this now matches up. To make this setting apply for all the new structure boxes I inserted, I can just double click on it and I can just toggle one of the values. So I like to just change this from bold and then uncheck it, and you can see that now I can save this. So I'm going to give it a new name, so I'm going to call it Demo Default here, and then if I use it as default from now on and click OK, and if it already exists you can overwrite it like so. If I click OK, then I can insert a new structure box. I'm just going to give it the same name, so I'm going to call it Skid and click OK. So you can now see that this one inserts like the other ones do. How can I create a macro project? So to create a macro project, the easiest way is to take a copy of the project you are working on. So here I'm going to go project and then copy, and then I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to call this top 5 macros. And then I'm just going to go for only interactive pages and then click OK. And now I've got a copy of the project. The only thing I need to change to make this into a macro project is to right click and go to properties and change the type of project from schematic to macro project. When I insert an accessory in Pro Panel, how do I change the orientation? So I'm going to drag this terminal cover in here and snap it to the top, and you can see that the rotation of this accessory is correct. If I try and place it on the bottom, you can see that it does not rotate as expected. So you can manually rotate this by pressing Ctrl Shift and R and press it again to get it upside down. And then when I place it, you can see it's going to snap there correctly. We can make an adjustment to this macro, so it will always place the accessory in the correct orientation. So to do this, what I can do is I can cut this device from the cabinet, and it's going to ask me for a base point. I'm just going to use this one here. And then if I jump to my macro project, which I've got open here, I can go into this new layout space I have created and then just paste it. So it's going to ask me for a base point. It doesn't matter where this is. I'm just going to place it here. And then in the macro project, it's going to show me all the different mounting points on this device. And I can see this bottom one is the one I want to work with. And I can see that the Z-axis is pointing up and away from the device, and then the Y-axis goes up, and this one, the X-axis, goes to the right. So to rotate this, we can just click on the mounting point and go to Edit, Graphic, and then Rotate Around Axis. So the axis I want it to rotate around is the Z-axis, so I'm just going to click this one here and type 180 degrees. So once I do that, you can see the Y-axis is now pointing down. So when I insert the accessory, it will be placed in the downwards orientation. So once I've done that, I can right click and go on properties, and I'm just going to grab the macro name here. So I'm just going to select it all and copy. And then I'm going to go to this new layout space and go to properties down here. I'm just going to paste it in the macro name here. So I'm going to paste the name here also, and this is just because I like to organize it by the actual file name. So I'm going to hit OK. And then once I've done that, I can regenerate this macro. So I can go to project data, macros generate automatically. Make sure you got the overwrite existing macro box checked and click OK. So now when I go back to my demo project and I place that same device, so if I go to devices, mine was MCB109, I can drag that over like so. And now when I place that terminal cover, I can see that it snaps correctly here and also here. So I don't need to manually rotate it now in the future. I've made changes to a macro, but when I insert the macro, I do not see these changes. I have a simple macro here, and I'm just going to regenerate it by going to Project Data, Macros, and Generate Automatically. Notice this is variant A. I'm going to go to my schematic project and insert this macro, and then place it here. I'm going to update this macro by taking a copy of it, and then I'm going to paste it below here. I'm going to make a simple modification to it. I'm going to make it 2 lights and wire these ones up here, like so. I'm going to change the variant to variant B, and then I'm going to regenerate variant B. When I insert this new macro, I should have the options of variant A and variant B, but notice how variant B does not have the additional light. So what is going on? So if I go back to my macro project, I can click on the macro box and right click and go to select associated objects. As you see, only this first circuit is highlighted, so that is what is included in the macro box. We have a few options to correct this. One way is to select everything inside the macro box, like so, and then right click on the macro box and go to assign objects to macro box. So now when I right click on the macro box and go to select associated objects, you can see everything is highlighted. We can also do it a different way. So if I go back a step and change this back to B, I do my select associated objects again, I'm back to my previous step. So another option is to double click on the macro box and to change this setting here, so manual object assignment. If I uncheck that, EPLAN will automatically include everything that is inside the macro box. So if I go to select associated objects here, everything is now included. So I can regenerate variant B by going to project data, macros, generate automatically. Okay, so now when I reinsert the macro, it should be functioning as I expect. So here's variant A and there is variant B. When I insert a macro with a placeholder object, how can I delete or hide these? So here I have a macro that I inserted from the data pool. It came with 2 placeholder objects that I can use to adjust certain values on this macro. Sometimes it's desirable to hide these, and to do that, the easiest way is to change the layer visibility. So to do that, let's go to the project data and then layer management. And the 2 layers that we're interested in is the macro layer here, so EPLAN 322 and the placeholder object. So if I just scroll across to the right here and uncheck the visibility, and then also the property placement for the placeholder object down here, and this is EPLAN 551, I just scroll across and change the visibility, and then I can close out there, and as you can see they now turn gray. And if I go to view and then turn off invisible elements, now they are hidden.
Hi, my name is Ian Underhill. I'm an applications engineer with EPLAN USA, working out of the Detroit office in Michigan. I hope you're enjoying your visit to the Rockwell Automation Fair at home. I would like to show you a piece of software from EPLAN called ProPanel, which is part of the Digitize Your Panel Shop initiative. As I'm making the demonstration, if you have any questions, you can use the chat feature to ask those questions and we'll respond to you straight away, or possibly at the end of the demonstration. But for now, let's get started. Thank you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how that fits in with the EPLAN world. So EPLAN, the project EPLAN, is this bottom line here that underpins all our different tools. So we have various tools like pre-planning fluid, electrical P8, which there's a demo going on with that one, Harness Pro D, and ProPanel, which is what I'm going to demonstrate. So all of these tools work on the EPLAN project, which is the database. So having said that, let's look at ProPanel. So ProPanel is a 3D panel layout tool. It works generally with your existing schematics. So if I show you, I have this is an IEC project, but that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether it's IEC or an FPA style project. So I have a project here with schematics, with components in it that we use. And from that, we can generate a panel layout. So this is an example of such a panel layout. But to do that, first we've got to start somewhere, and we've got to start typically with a control panel. So let me demonstrate how we might add a control panel. So we do this in the layout space area. So I'm going to create a new layout space. I just right-click in the layout space navigator, and it pops up a dialog here where I name the layout space. So I'm just going to call it demo, and I get to pick what structure identifier. So typically in this IEC project, we've named the panels A1, A2, A3, A4. So I would pick in the structure identifier where I want that to be, so that when I did a bill of materials, it would know where to assign these parts. So if I did a bill of materials for panel A1, for example, it would know how to assign those parts. So I'm not going to select anything because that's not necessary at the moment. Then we're going to go panel. So this is a blank layout space, a 3D environment. And for the panel, I'm going to use a retail panel. I will show you quickly that included in EPLAN ProPanel, you have access to the data portal. So that's where I'm going to find my control panels. The data portal, again, is probably being demonstrated in one of the other rooms. But basically, it's a cloud-based repository for manufacturer's data. The manufacturer owns the data, supplies it to EPLAN, and we just store it in a place where they can, where it's stored, and we can get access through from within EPLAN. So I picked retail. I actually went and searched for a housing. So we can see there's all sorts of enclosures from retail. You could search, if you knew the part number, you could search for it. You can actually, there's a configuration tool with EPLAN through retail that you can configure a panel, and we'll look at that briefly later. But I picked a panel. You could, once you found a panel, say for example, if it's this one, this one's got some accessories. You can download them all into a shopping cart and download everything. The panel I selected, I'll show you my shopping cart earlier. So I downloaded a particular control panel, which is
It's a freestanding enclosure. I can't remember, it's in amongst this lot. But as you can see, there was a load of accessories that came with it. So there's the panel I picked, 1000 by 1800 by 400 mil TS enclosure with all the accessories that are related to it. So there's 107. And then I downloaded them. I'm not going to do that now because obviously it'd take a little while and you don't want to sit watching my computer work. But once I've got downloaded, once I've got the part in the parts database, which is what that does, I can just select from the menu. This is the menu to insert an enclosure. And this is the one that I downloaded earlier. So here's the panel. Gives me a little bit of information about it. So it's a rental cabinet with two doors at the front. So that's the one I'm going to use, and I select OK. And there's my panel, and I can just place it in my environment. It offers me a second one. So if I want to place the second one to bay them together, I can do that. And you see it gives you tools so you know how to line them up correctly. So I'm going to just put the two in here and then hit escape. So now in my demo, I've got two enclosures and we can see the different parts of the enclosures. I can show you the mounting panels, showing you the doors. If I want to add items to the doors, I'm going to show everything again. And I've got my control panel. I probably need a few accessories. These are a bayed pair of control panels. So I probably want a plinth. I certainly want side panels on each of these. So I'm going to select the one panel, go into the accessories, and here we see when I downloaded all those 109 parts, they're all tied together with this panel, so it knows what's available. So I want a wall. I'll pick a wall, and there's some different options. So I'm going to pick a screw fastened side panel. I don't want it so you can open it and lockable. I just want it screwed on. And for this one, I want it on the left, so I select that particular one, and then I add it to the list here at the bottom by selecting the down arrow. And I'm going to put a 200 mil plinth on this one. So here's the plinth, the base assembly. I select it and add it in. And I think there is a intermediate panel. I'm going to select one of these intermediate panels. I want it on the right. This one. Select OK. And you see it automatically adds it in the right place. The model is set up with mounting aids so that it knows how to connect the side panel and the. And I'm going to do the same again for this panel. Again, go to the accessories. Again, I'm going to pick a wall. This one, I want it to be on the right. And I'm going to pick the plinth, the 200 mil. So add that one first. And the plinth, add that one. Okay. So there you see quickly how you might put the panel together that you can then start laying it out. And if I just quickly show you, I show only the mounting panels. You see it's added that infill panel. So I can place ductwork and components right across the panel. So that's how you might pick a panel. I'm not going to do this, is obviously a very big panel. So I'm going to pick one a little smaller to demonstrate. Let's get rid of that one. I'm going to pick a panel that already exists within this project here. So I'm going to again select new. I'm going to call it B1 X1, if that's the name of it. Description, there's a junction box layout, and here I get to pick the structures. So here's the structure that I've got, the different enclosures, and here's the one that I would like to do. I want to do this terminal box. So it now knows anything that I place in this space is relative to that. So again, empty layout space. Let me add just a little junction box. And the particular one I want to pick, I'm going to pick this one here. So it's a 400 by 400 junction box with no mounting plate and without any gland plates. And I place that, just want the one. What it does need is a mounting plate. It's got no mounting plate, so let me add that from accessories. And we see there's just one mounting plate. So there's my mounting plate in my box. Now I'm ready to start placing components. So let's look at it from the front, and we don't need to see any of the rest. We just need to see the mounting panel. So I'm going to first go and place some ductwork. Again, from the toolbar, I can select ductwork, and I have just a few items. Again, they're Rittel parts, but there are companies like Panduit and Tahalit that have duct available on the data portal. I'm just going to pick this one, which is nominally a 1 inch by 3 inch duct. And you see instantly it puts the grid up because it knows we want to place this ductwork on the grid, or have the option to. So I'm going to select here. So these grids are 10mm grids, and you can see probably from the cursor that tells me the position of the point I'm selecting. And then I've just dragged the grid across. Now I could just randomly select one of these grid points, but I want this to be neat. It's 20mm in from the edge on the left. I want it to be 20mm in from the edge on the right. So I select my placement object options and select -20. Now I can pick the edge, and you see there it's placed the right-hand end 20mm from the edge of the panel. Now I want another piece, and it needs to be the same size of that, so I can use the adopt length tool. I can pick this, and now I've got a piece of ductwork that's exactly the same length. So I'm going to place that there. And then lastly, I'm going to place some ductwork going down. And I use the A key to shift it. And the same here. So you see, very easily I've placed my ductwork. Next, I'm going to do add some mounting rail. Typically, most times we're using DIN 35 mounting rail. So we have some mounting rail. That's the only one I've got available. Again, a Rittel component, but there are other manufacturers available in the data portal. And once again, I probably want a little bit of space. I don't want to be busted up right against the ductwork. That makes it difficult for the guy putting it together to fit it in. So I'm going to use the placement options tool to give myself a 4-meter gap. I can select the center, and again, placement options, and -4. So there's the ductwork. Now we need to start adding the components.
Actually, maybe I want to move this down a little bit, so I'm going to move that down there, and I can adjust the length with my change length tool. I'll change the length of that one because I think I might struggle to fit the parts in. If you were doing it, you'd pay attention to what size of the parts were before you maybe made the ductwork. So there's my layout. If I go into a navigator we have, so in parts and devices and the 3D mounting navigator, this gives me a list of all the components, all the areas where the components are. Obviously, again, I don't want to search through this, so I can use a filter here, a mounting location, and I can either type it in or I can select from the list. I'm going to select this one, and it gives me a list of all the items from the circuits that need to be mounted. So you see it's added this particular item, which is the box, and here's the back plate, and then each of the bits of ductwork. So it's added that, so if I do a bill of materials, that information is available. I have one component here, which is actually some PLC device. I can select it, and I can just drag it and drop it in. That's simple. Now I just realized I actually want another piece of ductwork here, so maybe I'll give myself enough space. So let me add another piece of mounting rail. I'm going to select OK. I'm going to make the mounting rail match the length of this. I'm going to place the mounting rail here. And now I'm going to put the last components on. In this particular schematic, WD is the identifier they give to cables, so I'm not going to place a cable in here, but I am going to place terminals, and this is the terminal. XD is the identifier for a terminal strip, and I can drag the whole terminal strip. It will ask me if it wants to place the whole terminal strip. I can say yes. And there's the first terminal strip and the second terminal strip. And as you can see, I've identified the different terminals styles, the graphic, and the partition plates, the end barriers, and end clamps, as you see. Really easy. And if we look at it as a whole now, obviously, you can see you can work out clearance. My terminal's a little bit close to the bottom of the panel there, so I probably want to adjust that. But you can see the clearance available. You can actually measure it if you need to. So it gives you a lot of useful tools. So the last thing I want to show you before we're running out of time, so it's taking me a little while longer than I expected. Typically, you're going to want to show this diagram in the schematics, so someone can understand what it is that they're looking for or looking at. So if I go into my schematics, and I'm going to go to this area, the model view area, and I'm going to add a new page. I'll make it page number 1. I'm going to say it's the B1 X1 panel layout, and select OK. Here's a blank page. All I need to do is insert a model view, and I'm just going to do 2. The first one, it names it for me, asks me what layout space I want to look for. I'm going to pick this X1 junction box, and here it says, well, what do you want to display?
I just want to show the mounting panel. And I'm going to give myself an isometric view of that and select OK. So there's the view. I can also do the same model view. Pick the same component, again, just the mounting panel. Lines fit. And there we see. It's not labeled as terminals because I've not asked for it, but it has labeled each of the other items. And you can adjust that as you might want to. So that's basically it. That's a very quick and down and dirty demonstration of EPLAN. The one thing I will show you, let me, and I'm going to just quickly, because this is something that you will do. If I'm just going to show you the mounting panel, if I happen to move this device, I need to close and then open that sheet back up again. It recognizes that the model is not up to date. So all I need to do, and this would apply if I'd added more components, change the components, as well as just move them around. I go to Utilities, Reports, and Update. And there it is, there's the updated layout. So once you've generated this, you don't have to go back and generate it. And in actual fact, you can create these automatically as a report like you would a bill of materials if you set it up. That's the most of the demo. It's a very quick introduction to ProPan. It's a very, very powerful tool. You can do things like exchange panels. So if I found I didn't have enough space in here, I can exchange the part. If I wanted a different panel of a similar size, I could change the panel. I've got a one when I could change this to a panel that has gland plates on the side. Exactly the same part, and it's just a straight swap. Something that would take you a lot more to do if you were doing this manual environment or maybe another tool. You can do heat calculations from it because it's capable of working how big the panel is. You can tell it what the parameters are for the control panel, the external temperature, what the ambient is, what the max internal temperature should be. It knows from the components how much heat they generate, so it's able to calculate a total power dissipation, which for Rittal, then you can add that information directly into the Rittal therm calculation tool, and it will offer you an appropriate cooling solution if necessary. So that's it. Do you have any questions?
So he says, this may have been addressed in one of the other sessions, but is EPLAN capable of letting users know when something is missing? I'll let Ian take this, but the simple answer is absolutely. And I think, Ian, you can go ahead and kind of show him all those check marks and when something is missing.
Yes. So in basically, yes. This is a neat little tool. As you see, all the items that I know need place in our place, the check mark shows me there. If I deleted an item, it would stay in the list, but the check mark would go away. So, on a very simple basis, yes. There are also tools available. EPLAN has got this check run option. So you open the messages and you go check the project. And I won't bother checking it, but I'll just show you. There are some specific checks for the 3D layout. So things like, is the part completely outside the mounting surface? So if you try to mount an item off the mounting surface, and you saw that was highlighted with a grid, it would identify. Mounting clearances, are they observed? So for things like VFDs, where you have a a certain clearance typically above the VFD. Often they can be placed next to each other, but you typically have a clearance above them. You can check for those sort of things. And as you see, there's, without going through them all, there's 69 different checks, one of which was no part assigned to the placement. So you place something and you haven't got a part information. Various different informations, checks about what's in the just the 3D layout there, as well as obviously all the other checks that would check your schematics as well. The other thing, if I actually show you, let me find. I think this is a good one. So one of the things, if I look at the front, let's hide the door. So we don't need the door. So I can do things. If I go to the view, I can, for example, I look at mounting clearances, and you see here, here's the clearance that's required for this. It's an SEW Movitrack VFD. So they can be placed close together looking at this, but they need a certain amount of clearance at the top and the bottom. And that clearance comes direct from the part. This part comes from a manufacturer that's downloaded from the data portal. So this information isn't just randomly something we've typed in. This is what the manufacturer has said is the appropriate clearance for this device. And if I made it such that something was in the way, either another component or the ductwork, that error checking would identify that. I'll turn that clearances off. I can also view the thermal design. So let's have a look at the power dissipation density. So now you see the items that dissipate the most power are the most red. Items that dissipate the least are blue. So these orange, the most circuit protectors are somewhere in the middle. This items that dissipates a little bit. It's not. It's just on a general scale in terms of a percentage. You know, because this is red, doesn't mean it's dissipates loads. It's just the most within this panel. So the difference between this and an item that's yellow is purely sort of percentage. This being 100%, the item that dissipates the most heat, and obviously something that's blue being an item that dissipates the least. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that demonstration. Be sure to pop by the EPLAN booth at the Rockwell Automation Fair at home and enjoy the rest of your visit. Thanks very much. Have a great day.
So I'm Jeff Kilburn, EPLAN Managing Director in the United States.
Hello, my name is Chirayu Shah. I lead Digital Partner Program at Rockwell Automation.
Hi, I'm Matthew Hansen. I'm a partner manager at Rockwell Automation, managing some of our digital partnerships.
Hi, I'm Thomas Keller, based in Europe, and I'm looking after the sales in Europe for EPLAN.
All right, so to kick it off, Industry 4.0, the next industrial revolution, China 2025, a lot of these global initiatives highlight the fact that industrial companies need to get after digital transformation. They're already on their journey. Some of them are starting at a different point. Some of them have brownfield environments. Some of them have greenfield environments. Some of them are global in nature. But most of them have challenges tying data across their enterprise and creating purposeful, contextualized information that can help them make better decisions and improve total cost of ownership, reduce enterprise risk, and really drive productivity across their industrial value chain. That's where we come in. We as Rockwell have been market leaders and have been serving industrial customers globally for 100+ years. We have understanding and domain expertise of vast industrial customer types ranging from oil and gas, mining, to discrete manufacturers like automotive and then CPG and what. So again, ability to serve those customers across that industrial value chain using our expertise is really critical from supplier perspective. But we realize that this digital transformation journey is very, very complex, and it requires ecosystem of partners. And because of that, we are bringing the digital partner program. And this digital partner program is built around market leaders who are domain expert, who are leaders in their own space, who can work together with other companies and provide differentiated experience to our customers. We focus on co-innovation, where we can purposefully create products and solutions together with our partners that can help our customers get more when they use our products together. So truly drive that 1 + 1 = 3. And as we add more partners, really provide that industrial value or digital value across the supply chain. From digital partner program perspective, we have different categories of partners starting across the life cycle, from management consulting firms to technology partners to system integrators. And this ecosystem is critical, as I said, because as we technology providers like EPLAN and Rockwell provide solutions, you will get value of integration between our products, but also the ecosystem that can help deliver solutions across the board. So today, when my colleagues will talk about Rockwell solutions and EPLAN solutions, you'll hear about the value of data. You'll hear about the value of driving productivity for our customers and how we are leveraging our core capability and competence and domain expertise to really create differentiated offerings and value for our customers. EPLAN and Rockwell have had successful relationship for a long time. You will hear about how Rockwell has adopted EPLAN data strategy and how we have created libraries for our components that really creates value for us, but also creates value for our customers when they are developing their digital solutions, be it OEMs, machine builders, or end users, operators. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, who will talk to you more details about EPLAN and Rockwell partnership.
Yeah, thank you, Shirayu. Yeah, I think the combination of EPLAN's technology and Rockwell's technology really delivers a compelling value proposition to our common customers, and really helps them drive their profitability in a way of increasing efficiencies through reduction in the overall time and effort it takes to execute an automation solution, and increase accuracy of the work that's done by each discipline. And a lot of this value comes from really connecting that making that digital connection between the logical connections that are present in the EPLAN platform for the electrical schematics and electrical circuits with the logical sequence of operations that are put into the control system via Rockwell Studio 5000 software. And a lot of that is done today quite often manually, And between the two organizations, we can really make that digital connection where there's a continuous flow of data. And that means accuracy, and it means speed, and then drops a lot of profitability to the bottom line of our common customers. And, in particular with Rockwell, Rockwell's made a significant investment in putting a set of data out there into their components that are on the EPLAN data portal. And that really significantly increases the ability of our customers to execute at a very high level the engineering and manufacturing of those automation solutions, and really enhances the entire sequence of connections. So, you think about from an engineering standpoint, having at your fingertips all of the data that helps you execute from an engineering perspective for all those automation objects that are used to put that solution together. Think of how much heat is in the cabinet, what cooling do you require from there, how do you name things, how do you put into your control system, common definitions of things, and have that data transfer automatically from EPLAN's platform to Rockwell's platform. And but by doing this and making that digital connection between the two organizations, between the disciplines, it really enhances our customers' value and helps them really transform the way they do their business on a day-to-day basis. And I think we see a number of customers really taking that step up. Now there's more than ever a catalyst to actually initiate change, whereas we've been in this industry for decades doing things with drawings and with spreadsheets, and making this digital thread connection between the two organizations and the value propositions we independently provide, and pulling that all together with customers is a compelling situation for customers, and really accelerates their business. And I think one of the things often overlooked in that is that not only does it drop to the bottom line some efficiencies, but we see customers, and I've experienced this in my own career with both organizations, to enable you to have the ability to drive your top line. If you can do things faster and more accurate, you can drive your business as a whole. And so that's a compelling value proposition to many customers in the market today. I think maybe, Thomas, you might have some comments on how this affects certain customer types and how they are realizing that value from EPLAN and Rockwell together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. So I think you talked about data, and I always say it all starts with data. We want to have a digital thread. We want to have a digital twin, whatever you call it. So it all starts with the right data. And with the right data, yeah, having it at your fingertips and having the full power of the system, because it's data driven, yeah, with the right data. So looking at the OEMs, the machine builder, but also the panel builders, what kind of benefits can they really gain by working in this, let's say, in this way, getting the benefit from a database oriented system versus their traditional, let's say, other drawing methods, comparing that. So first of all, for an OEM, the advantage is, of course, they often have existing designs, so they have proven designs. They can reuse these designs. It's almost like a template, so they can use a design that already works well, and they can reuse it, modify it, and that's definitely a great benefit working in this digital world, and with the high efficiency also. Keep that in mind, that by using this kind of database methods or database as a foundation, you also achieve a lot of efficiency. And then, of course, you mentioned also the top line, Jeff. I think in your as an OEM, as a machine builder, you have to deal with your customer. So you want to deal with your customer. You want to engage with your customer early in the design process. You want to be fast in that bidding process, and get your first draft, your result to the customer quickly, and then you also have iterations. And if you are completely digital and data driven, you can have these iterations much more quicker. You can look at different variants. You can convince the customer really with your customer with speed and quality, so that enhances your position in the market. Another topic, of course, is always what happens after. You have a bill of material, of course. Many bill of materials today are very manually from drawing packages, and the information flow within the company is somehow disrupted by being in a very manual process there in many cases. But by doing it almost automatic, this bill of material, you save time. You really can use in this whole process with your customer, and you have a much better collaboration with your customer, and also think about, again, these iterations we talked about. So the bill of material then changes automatically because it comes from the database. So that's a big advantage you have versus a more manual process. And we talked about documents you produce. We talked about the value chain for you as a customer when you are an OEM or a machine builder, or you have the panel builder, the right documents. Yeah, how do you supply the right documents to these other departments? So the flow of information is a really critical part of this whole engineering process we talk about here together with our customers. And from a European perspective, we really have a lot of examples where we have this kind of collaboration, exactly that the customers appreciate the connection of the Rockwell tools and the EPLAN tools directly in their software. So that's really going in a great way. So this partnership is really a key benefit for EPLAN, also from a European perspective. So Matt, maybe I pass the word to you.
Yeah, sounds good, Thomas. Thank you. Yeah, and just to follow up a little bit on, what Shirayu opened with, we're building an ecosystem of best-in-class partners, right, to really augment what Rockwell Automation does, and really deliver, a unique set of capabilities to our customer base, right? And, one of the big things I think here is we're trying to help our customers really unlock their digital potential, right? So specifically with, some of these partners, we're really focusing in on, digital engineering, right, is the kind of topic of this conversation today. As Thomas said, it really comes down to the data, right? And we're really trying through that data, bring together the design of products, manufacturing processes, on your automation, right, across, the entire, industrial life cycle, right? So whether that's early in the design phases, in the build phases, across the operations or maintenance phases, right? We really want to, drive the use of that data across that entire life cycle. Through both Shirayu and Jeff and Thomas, we've talked about some of the benefits here, right? But at a high level, this can really help improve time to market, minimize downtime, and really add agility into the overall, life cycle process. Again, as Jeff and Thomas said, right, the EPLAN technology is really help enable customers to improve their efficiency, the accuracy of their electrical designs, ultimately into the automation systems as well, right? But it just doesn't stop there. Jeff and Thomas mentioned Studio 5000 and some of the workflows there, right? So again, starting with that data, right, into an electrical design, bringing that into the automation design, right? You're able to really drive efficiency by starting earlier in those design processes, right? In parallel with all of this, as mechanical design is moving on, that can be brought to life with, Rockwell Automation product called Emulate 3D, right? Ultimately, the automation design and that electrical design, that can come together through Emulate 3D to allow the validation of new lines, right, in a completely virtual manner. So you can imagine the value that this can bring to our customers, right? It can dramatically reduce, commissioning time. It can manage risk on programs, and ultimately it can help improve initial yield and initial quality of new lines and manufacturing assets that are just being brought online. So, this is really just the beginning of what's possible with an ecosystem approach, right? When we start to, layer on, Rockwell Automation capabilities with the best-in-class capabilities that our partners bring, we really can help customers unlock their digital potential and do it better digitally.
So as you heard from Jeff and Thomas and Matt, the value of industrial ecosystem, value of data, and how we can bring contextualized information across the value chain is really, really critical to customer success. And customers can really benefit both from top-line perspective, as Jeff said, as well as improving productivity, as Matt said. Think of different use cases around virtual commissioning to productivity across different departments within your organization. No longer we are into siloed, electrical department doesn't talk to automation department. We're really mechanical, electrical, all these engineering disciplines can really share information more proactively because we as vendors are building integration, bi-directional real-time integration, so that you can share information and be productive as you use our capabilities together and truly allow our customers to use best of breed technologies and tools that you really love and admire and use those effectively. On the back end, we can connect those workflows through data models and information layers to really create the productivity that I'm talking about. So power of best of breed technologies, bring together with integrated solution and create value for you. That's what we are about. That's what we really are. That's when we call ourselves successful for our customers and create that differentiated experience. And I'll yield it back to my colleagues here and maybe have them summarize maybe a couple of key takeaways.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would just add that, we talk about it from initial concept to commissioning, startup, and even into your runtime and maintenance. There's value all along that digital chain of industrial automation. And when we collaborate in these best of breed scenarios, we've got examples of workflows using some really cutting edge technologies with all of the partners in the digital partner program. And Matt mentioned Emulate 3D, but we've got workflows on the maintenance side that we have put into practice now with PTC as well, another part of the digital partner program from Rockwell. And all of that, allows every piece of we call it the ecosystem of industrial automation, from the end use application through the integrators and OEMs that build the machines and put it all together for them, to a lot of those people build their own panels. Some of them use a separate organization, and to enable that digital thread through that entire ecosystem of customers with the partner program of Rockwell, I think really, to Matt's point, unlocks a lot of value for them. And it's, as I said before, it's not just in the ways of efficiencies, but it's also enabling speed to market. And speed to market means we can drive the top line business for our customers. And that really is a game changer here. And having all these partners work together provides, I think, a unique value in the market.
Tim Order of EPLAN Software and Services is a resident digitalization expert focusing on integrations and software implementations of the future. Here, Tim demonstrates how EPLAN and PTC have partnered to support end-to-end customer process workflows, even at the post-installation stage. Using cloud technology, you can access relevant information to pinpoint a source of error or failure from anywhere, and thus identify the culprit in the control panel instantly. Here we see that a conveyor has stopped. The customer calls the service technician to look into the issue. The technician checks the motor on the conveyor and no obvious mechanical issues are found. The next step is to check to see if there is an electrical issue. Using EPLAN eView and our augmented reality application based on PTC technology, the technician gets access to relevant mechanical and schematic information of the motor. The technician now analyzes the electrical path from the motor to its connected devices. To understand why there is no power to this motor, we take a look at the power supply in the schematics layout and spot the motor protection switches. Let's pause here for a minute because you looked a little surprised. Maybe this isn't familiar to you because in most instances, this would be a manual process for technicians. They need to pull plotting paper files, a binder manual, or a PDF file to analyze the plant infrastructure for analysis. But with today's progressive solutions, this process can be completed much faster with less know-how required. Hang tight, we actually have more to show you. The technician flips back into AR view for the mechanical plant and locates the control panel on the shop floor. Using the tablet once again, he scans the cabinet and now can see the control system in a 3D view using the data from EPLAN Pro Panel. In addition, he can quickly locate the problem switch that needs to be replaced. The technician can replace the part and now also use eView to redline the schematics to show the work completed. This information can be sent back to the original EPLAN project with supporting documentation. It's not unbelievable, it's EPLAN.
Hi, my name is Jason McLeese, an application engineer here at EPLAN USA. Thank you for joining us today at the Rockwell Automation Fair. I hope you enjoyed Tim's demonstration using augmented reality to support maintenance and operations. Right now, we are going to talk briefly about complete transparency with digital operations, smart manufacturing that lives in the cloud. Our story revolves around the integrated value chain. Here, we are looking at the operations step. EPLAN eView, a new cloud viewing concept on the EPLAN ePulse platform. EPLAN eView. Provide EPLAN projects on the new EPLAN ePulse platform. Enable efficient interaction between engineering and multiple downstream processes. Invite authorized users and allow them access to project information. View the EPLAN project via EPLAN eView web browser. Change how information is exchanged between engineering and maintenance via a redlining workflow. With eView, time-consuming searches in paper form are no longer necessary. This not only protects the environment, but also saves valuable time during commissioning and troubleshooting. Store. Upload and store the EPLAN project in the cloud. Graphical, logical, and parts data. Share. Invite others to access the project information in the cloud. View. Visualize the EPLAN project in the cloud using a simple browser. Redlining. Provide communication capability through the browser back to engineering directly from the cloud. Easy to use. Browser access from any operating system. Access from anywhere. Only an internet connection is required. Up to date. Always use the latest software. No installation required. Managed API, third-party cloud-to-cloud services connectivity. New users, production, assembly, commissioning, service, and maintenance. eView provides a simple upload from the EPLAN platform for the designer or construction engineer. You have easy access from the browser, and so many touch points within your workflow will have access to the project. Production, commissioning, switchgear cabinet manufacturers, service, maintenance, management, PDM, PLM, and end customers. With the ease of use of QR codes, you have access to the current circuit diagram documents via EPLAN eView. eView is integrated into the EPLAN platform. Projects are directly uploaded from the platform into the cloud. Users are then invited to view the project. All necessary information for your uploaded projects can be seen in eView. View your uploaded projects in the ePlan Cloud. Filter function to find projects quickly and easily. All project properties are available. Manage user access for the project in the ePlan Cloud. Fast and easy page filtering saves time. All necessary device information is available in eView. The Device Navigator provides an overview of all available devices. The filter can be used, for example, to optimally display the production views by control cabinet. Simple selection of the device shows all detailed information and a link to the data portal. 3D models are available in View. View and navigate to 3D Pro Panel models. Filter for 3D installation space. Using the redlining workflow, comments on the project can be optimally exchanged between the design department and, as an example, production. Various redlining tools help to capture the comments. Redlining status creates transparency. A timeline helps to capture the entire change flow across a project. The redlining overview creates transparency for the designer to make the changes. Redlining overview integrated directly into the ePlan platform. All changes are available over the ePlan cloud. Easy collaboration between engineering and downstream processes. Here's an example of the redlining status. The eView user creates a redline. He can then delete it or submit it to the ePlan platform user for review. The ePlan platform user has the option to remove the redline or approve it. He can then take the next step of marking it done and providing a project update. Greenlining helps to reduce paper waste. It allows the eView user to make personal comments and notations. These are only visible to him or her. In the video at the beginning of this session, you saw Tim demonstrating how augmented reality works to support operations on the floor. But what are the benefits? For operators, shorter machine downtime, shortened use of technicians in case of service, faster localization of components, faster commissioning. For machine manufacturers, positioning as a technology leader, higher competitiveness, additional unique selling point, less research and documentation, less preparation time for technicians, higher technical knowledge through digitalization. Support your service and maintenance team with augmented reality. ePlan is proud to be a Rockwell Automation digital partner. If you have any questions, please let us know. We'll be here in the live chat all week. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeff Kilburn. I'm the Managing Director for EPLAN USA, here to give you a quick glance of EPLAN software and service. EPLAN, along with their sister company Rittal, are part of the Friedhelm Loh Group, $2.6 billion company with over 12,000 employees worldwide. EPLAN itself has 1,100 employees across the world, with 58,000 customers using 190,000 EPLAN software licenses every day to execute their electrical engineering solutions. EPLAN offers a platform of solutions for multiple disciplines that all sit on top of a common data model that then resides in what we call the EPLAN project. And this is where the power of and value of the solution is derived. At EPLAN, we talk about an ecosystem of industrial automation. This consists of 4 different and distinct business types. There's, of course, the end use or the operator that's putting the automation solution into use. There are the OEMs and system integrators who build the machines and pull it all together for that end use application. Someone, of course, has to build the electrical panels. So that's a business type. Sometimes the OEMs and integrators do it themselves, but also it's sometimes a separate entity, but it's certainly part of the solution. And last but not least, it really all starts there, the end use operator usually selects a line of components to base their solution on. And so when people execute an automation solution today, at least in the United States, there's a lot of handoffs that happen, and I think this is the case globally, but more than ever here in the United States, we see a lot of disjointed handoffs in the way of drawings and spreadsheets and things like this, and that's an opportunity for errors and inefficiencies. And this is the value that we provide to all of the pieces of the what we call the ecosystem of industrial automation. So, usually it starts with an operator that puts together a specification that includes some of the component manufacturer's parts. They do some planning around what they need and what kind of solutions they're going to look for, and they usually have partners in form of OEMs and system integrators or solution providers that then are asked to give them quotations. And this is where the first step of the EPLAN project really starts to deliver value. The operator can pass that specification not on paper or in an electronic form like a PDF, but in a data form in terms of an EPLAN project, and communicate that to their partners in the market, who then can do some basic level work within our platform, and then in terms of basic engineering required to develop a quotation for a machine or an integration solution. And that's one handoff that is seamless and has a continuity of data, or a data thread, if you will. Of course, once the orders are placed with the OEMs and integrators, they have to do all the detailed engineering work, and that's the efficiencies gained by having all of that information pass through start to help, but also all of the data that came from the component manufacturers. So EPLAN has all of these manufacturers in a cloud-based location called the EPLAN Data Portal, and all that data can now flow into the detailed engineering to help with things like thermal calculations to see if you need a fan or an AC unit on the cabinet that needs to be built, to lay out the wires, and maybe even go so far as to automate the fabrication of the panel with the cutouts in the door for the HMI and the holes drilled in the back panel for the components to mount. The wires themselves can be with the data that's coming and available in the EPLAN platform and coming from the components from the component manufacturer. You can automate in the fabrication of the wire. We have our sister company Rotaw's machines that cut, strip, crimp, and mark the wire, and the efficiencies are enormous for the people actually building the panel. And that can be an OEM, an integrator, or a separate company. But someone, of course, then has to source all those components, build the panel, and again, instead of a handoff of a different spreadsheet or evaluation of a set of drawings, it can be all put into the EPLAN project and shared again with the different players in the ecosystem. And then, of course, once all the electrical equipment's built, it has to be installed and commissioned, and then, of course, put into operation. And there's always a desire to and an effort made to do as-built documentation. But now in the commissioning and runtime and operation phase, EPLAN has cloud-based tools that allow you to maintain that project and have as-maintained documentation for your automation solution, which delivers another round of value to the end use at the operator level during the runtime of their facility or their assembly line or whatever happens to be. And we have customers all over the globe doing this in all different industries, from marine to automotive to oil and gas. And every day we interface with those customers. We, of course, provide our software platform that enables it. But more so than anything, we can share the experiences we have across the world on best practices and help every different discipline or company that's involved in this ecosystem of industrial automation achieve their own values, but even maybe more importantly for some, to show that value to their customers and to differentiate themselves. So this is what we do every day. We do have a long-term strategy to create more and more a digital, even a cloud-based, digitally connected system to increase the efficiencies. That, of course, involves our software and the data behind it, but all putting it into a digital platform. And our goal is to be ready for our customers when they're ready to move to the cloud. And that will, of course, will happen over time. We're hard at work at it, and we hope to lead our customers and ourselves to operational excellence as we move toward that new solution that we believe the cloud is the future. And so that's ePlan software and service at a glance. I hope that helped explain a few things, but if you would like to interface with us, we're always available, and look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
Hola, mi nombre es René Knopfel, soy el Technical Business Manager de EPLAN Estados Unidos y a continuación les presentaré una introducción a EPLAN Software and Service. EPLAN pertenece junto a su compañía hermana Rital, es parte del Friedhelm Law Group, un grupo con más de 2.6 billones de euros en ingresos anuales a nivel mundial. Por su parte, EPLAN cuenta con más de 1.100 empleados presentes en 50 países y con una red de clientes que sobrepasan los 58.000, con más de 190.000 licencias en uso para el desarrollo de soluciones de ingeniería eléctrica y de automatización. EPLAN ofrece una gama de soluciones tecnológicas desarrolladas todas bajo una base de datos en común, la plataforma de EPLAN. Y estos datos se almacenan todos bajo un mismo proyecto, el proyecto de EPLAN. Y es aquí donde radica la ventaja y el valor de nuestras soluciones. Permítame explicarle. Nos enfocamos en lo que llamamos el ecosistema de automatización industrial. Nuestros clientes varían desde los usuarios finales o end users, los fabricantes de equipos originales, OEMs, los integradores de sistemas, los fabricantes de armarios y los fabricantes de componentes. Una realidad que la manera como cada uno de estos actores almacenan y distribuyen la información es a través de hojas de cálculo, a través de bocetos, a través de planos, lo que aumenta la probabilidad de errores y de ineficiencias en el proceso. Esto ocurre no solamente dentro de los distintos tipos de empresas ya nombrados, sino también cuando estas empresas tienen que colaborar entre sí. Y aquí EPLAN cumple un valor fundamental. Normalmente el proceso comienza cuando el usuario final, el end user, está en su etapa de planificación y en búsqueda de una solución en el mercado. Él define un conjunto de especificaciones, él define los componentes que que se van a utilizar, incluso los fabricantes que se van a utilizar. Después tiene una red de partners en el mercado donde puede buscar distintos tipos de ofertas. Los partners reciben una petición de oferta. En este proceso, este primer paso, es donde el proyecto de EPLAN empieza a añadir valor. El usuario, les explico, el usuario final puede pasar el conjunto de especificaciones. Normalmente se pasa en papel o se pasa en formato PDF, pero en este caso puede pasar ese conjunto de especificaciones, ese conjunto de componentes, toda esa información recopilada al principio, la puede pasar en el proyecto de EPLAN en una base de datos. El integrador de sistema o el fabricante de equipos originales puede tomar esta base de datos, puede proceder a hacer los distintos niveles de ingeniería básica necesarios para hacer una oferta. Y de esta forma minimizar, digamos, la pérdida de información por transferencia. Y a su vez se garantiza una continuidad de datos y a su vez alimentando el proyecto de EPLAN con más y más información. Siguiente paso es, se gana el proyecto, ¿ya? Entonces los fabricantes de los OEMs, los fabricantes de equipos originales, ¿ya? Pasan a lo que llamamos la ingeniería de detalle. Y es aquí donde se obtiene aún o se ve aún más el aumento de la eficiencia, dado que todos los datos ya almacenados por el usuario final y sobre todo los datos de los componentes se le presentan al ingeniero en una profundidad de datos que le va a ayudar con todas las especificaciones de su diseño. En el caso de EPLAN, EPLAN mantiene un catálogo digital en la nube, donde distintos tipos de fabricantes almacenan y mantienen los datos, no solo de la parte comercial, sino también datos necesarios para la ingeniería básica, para la ingeniería de detalles y para la fabricación o la instalación de los distintos tipos de componentes. Ejemplos, ¿cómo puede ayudar estos datos a un ingeniero? Si vamos a los ejemplos de las calculaciones térmicas, ¿ya? Para ver qué unidad de enfriamiento requiero en un armario. Estos datos los provee los componentes, estos datos ya están almacenados en el proyecto y el ingeniero al momento de crear el prototipo en 3D del armario ya puede verificar si está cumpliendo con las reglas de distancias especificadas por el proveedor. Asimismo puede determinar si las conexiones, el tipo de conexiones o los cables elegidos son soportados por el componente, son los recomendados por el fabricante. E incluso puede llegar a mandar esta información, digamos, una vez que ya se tenga el armario listo en su formato digital, puede mandar esta información a una máquina de CNC para, por ejemplo, hacer las escotaduras para la interfaz HMI, la interfaz hombre-máquina. Se le presenta la información de la ubicación de los orificios de perforación y puede incluso obtener la longitud exacta de los cables, la terminación de los cables. Existen máquinas como la que oferta nuestra compañía hermana Rital, que le permite cortar, aislar, engarzar y marcar los cables. Y toda esta información ya está contenida en el proyecto de EPLAN. En caso, por ejemplo, no todos los OEMs hacen el diseño o la fabricación de los armarios, ¿no? En caso de que, por ejemplo, se subcontrate la fabricación del armario, en vez de pasar la información a través de fotos, a través de bocetos, se pasa simplemente el prototipo virtual del armario con toda esta información, con la información relevante para la parte de fabricación, y de esta forma agilizar las operaciones del subcontratista. Y todo, seguimos hablando del mismo proyecto de EPLAN del que empezamos con este ejemplo. Naturalmente, una vez que ya el operador haya recibido la solución y la haya instalado, la hayan puesto en marcha, obtiene el operador una documentación que llamaríamos as design, y empieza el ciclo de vida de, digamos, la línea de ensamblaje. Durante este ciclo de vida hay mantenimientos que se realizan, hay reemplazos de componentes, reemplazos de sistemas que se realizan, y EPLAN ofrece una cantidad de aplicaciones que le permiten al ingeniero de mantenimiento siempre mantener los datos y la documentación que está disponible en el proyecto de EPLAN up to date. De esta forma no solo se tiene los datos o los planos as built, pero también se tienen los datos as maintained. Siempre se tienen los datos actuales. Tenemos clientes alrededor del mundo trabajando de esta forma, desde el sector automotriz, desde oil and gas, en el sector de energía, y todos los días ofrecemos no solo la tecnología, sino también los best practices que hemos acumulado en nuestros 36 años de experiencia. En EPLAN también tenemos una estrategia a largo plazo de continuar innovando, continuar haciendo que el ecosistema sea cada vez más eficiente y permitirle a sus actores diferenciarse por medio de las ventajas que se encuentran hoy en día disponibles con la digitalización en ingeniería. Espero le haya resultado informativo este video. Estamos siempre disponibles en las redes sociales, en todos los distintos canales, y de esta forma me despido. Muchas gracias.
I'm Johnny Wilson, and welcome to the August edition of the top 5 questions that was submitted to the EPLAN Solution Center. How can I draw a structure box with a recess? So I've got 2 structure boxes. The one on the left shows the designation in the structure box recessed with 90 degrees here. So how do I make the one on the right look like the same? So we need to check some settings first. So if you go to the options, and then settings, and then we're just going to go to the project and then the name of the project, and then in graphical editing under the general tab, we want to make sure the draw structure box with the recess is checked. So once that is done, then I just double click on the structure box and then I change the value from the left top outside at 0 degrees to the left top inside at 90 degrees like so. So if I click OK, then you can see that this now matches up. To make this setting apply for all the new structure boxes I inserted, I can just double click on it and I can just toggle one of the values. So I like to just change this from bold and then uncheck it, and you can see that now I can save this. So I'm going to give it a new name, so I'm going to call it Demo Default here, and then if I use it as default from now on and click OK, and if it already exists you can overwrite it like so. If I click OK, then I can insert a new structure box. I'm just going to give it the same name, so I'm going to call it Skid and click OK. So you can now see that this one inserts like the other ones do. How can I create a macro project? So to create a macro project, the easiest way is to take a copy of the project you are working on. So here I'm going to go project and then copy, and then I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to call this top 5 macros. And then I'm just going to go for only interactive pages and then click OK. And now I've got a copy of the project. The only thing I need to change to make this into a macro project is to right click and go to properties and change the type of project from schematic to macro project. When I insert an accessory in Pro Panel, how do I change the orientation? So I'm going to drag this terminal cover in here and snap it to the top, and you can see that the rotation of this accessory is correct. If I try and place it on the bottom, you can see that it does not rotate as expected. So you can manually rotate this by pressing Ctrl Shift and R and press it again to get it upside down. And then when I place it, you can see it's going to snap there correctly. We can make an adjustment to this macro, so it will always place the accessory in the correct orientation. So to do this, what I can do is I can cut this device from the cabinet, and it's going to ask me for a base point. I'm just going to use this one here. And then if I jump to my macro project, which I've got open here, I can go into this new layout space I have created and then just paste it. So it's going to ask me for a base point. It doesn't matter where this is. I'm just going to place it here. And then in the macro project, it's going to show me all the different mounting points on this device. And I can see this bottom one is the one I want to work with. And I can see that the Z-axis is pointing up and away from the device, and then the Y-axis goes up, and this one, the X-axis, goes to the right. So to rotate this, we can just click on the mounting point and go to Edit, Graphic, and then Rotate Around Axis. So the axis I want it to rotate around is the Z-axis, so I'm just going to click this one here and type 180 degrees. So once I do that, you can see the Y-axis is now pointing down. So when I insert the accessory, it will be placed in the downwards orientation. So once I've done that, I can right click and go on properties, and I'm just going to grab the macro name here. So I'm just going to select it all and copy. And then I'm going to go to this new layout space and go to properties down here. I'm just going to paste it in the macro name here. So I'm going to paste the name here also, and this is just because I like to organize it by the actual file name. So I'm going to hit OK. And then once I've done that, I can regenerate this macro. So I can go to Project Data, Macros, Generate Automatically. Make sure you got the Overwrite Existing Macro box checked and click OK. So now when I go back to my demo project and I place that same device, so if I go to Devices, mine was MCB109, I can drag that over like so. And now when I place that terminal cover, I can see that it snaps correctly here and also here. So I don't need to manually rotate it now in the future. I've made changes to a macro, but when I insert the macro, I do not see these changes. I have a simple macro here, and I'm just going to regenerate it by going to Project Data, Macros, and Generate Automatically. Notice this is variant A. I'm going to go to my schematic project and insert this macro, and then place it here. I'm going to update this macro by taking a copy of it, and then I'm going to paste it below here. I'm going to make a simple modification to it. I'm going to make it 2 lights and wire these ones up here, like so. I'm going to change the variant to variant B, and then I'm going to regenerate variant B. When I insert this new macro, I should have the options of variant A and variant B, but notice how variant B does not have the additional light. So what is going on? So if I go back to my macro project, I can click on the macro box and right click and go to Select Associated Objects. As you see, only this first circuit is highlighted, so that is what is included in the macro box. We have a few options to correct this. One way is to select everything inside the macro box, like so, and then right click on the macro box and go to Assign Objects to Macro Box. So now when I right click on the macro box and go to Select Associated Objects, you can see everything is highlighted. We can also do it a different way. So if I go back a step and change this back to B, I do my Select Associated Objects again, I'm back to my previous step. So another option is to double click on the macro box and to change this setting here, so Manual Object Assignment. If I uncheck that, EPLAN will automatically include everything that is inside the macro box. So if I go to Select Associated Objects here, everything is now included. So I can regenerate variant B by going to Project Data, Macros, Generate Automatically. Okay, so now when I reinsert the macro, it should be functioning as I expect. So here's variant A, and there is variant B. When I insert a macro with a placeholder object, how can I delete or hide these? So here I have a macro that I inserted from the data pool. It came with 2 placeholder objects that I can use to adjust certain values on this macro. Sometimes it's desirable to hide these, and to do that, the easiest way is to change the layer visibility. So to do that, let's go to the project data and then layer management. And the 2 layers that we're interested in is the macro layer here, so EPLAN 322 and the placeholder object. So if I just scroll across to the right here and uncheck the visibility, and then also the property placement for the placeholder object down here, and this is EPLAN 551, I just scroll across and change the visibility, and then I can close out there, and as you can see they now turn gray. And if I go to view and then turn off invisible elements, now they are hidden.
Hi, I'm Christopher Aldrich, writer-director of the EPLAN Digital Journey. I hope you're enjoying Rockwell Automation Fair at Home. Today we're rerunning episode 4, now about the PLCs. In case you missed it back in July, this is the one where our hero goes from IAB, or Integrated Architecture Builder, to EPLAN, to Studio 5000, and then back again. After you watch the clip, we're going to be here in chat live, so feel free to post any questions that you might have, and we'll answer you right away. Thank you for joining us, and now on with the show.
Previously on A Digital Journey, we looked at how to unmake a mess of things. We found out the limitations of video on WebEx. We found out that budget shouldn't be a problem. Means that if a budget doesn't exist, then it isn't a problem. And there is no limit to what you can do with PowerPoint. Given enough time and not enough sleep, but I digress. We met a hard-working engineer named B, and B had a problem. B was faced with a massive internal language barrier. The sales guy didn't speak designer, who didn't speak customer, who spoke of a need to just get his machine built. B realized that if she could just match all of these different needs with a basic list of designs that she had already made, she could take all the little parts and pieces from the jobs in the past and match them with the customer's needs in the present. Later, we found out that this was called cogeneer, meaning collaborative engineering, known as eBuild, part of ePulse. This is completely straightforward. Hey, ask your salesperson. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 4th episode of A Digital Journey. It is a 12-part series learning how to do stuff a little faster, hopefully a little better, and with less effort. I will be your moderator, Andrew Fortenberry. After the episode, we will have a Q&A session. So during the episode, please post any chats into the chat bar, and I will be sure to answer them. Please leave us a note on how we are doing, questions, comments, and if so, even any nasty remarks. Today, we are going to talk about PLCs. For those of you who do not like acronyms, we are going to talk about programmable logic controllers, the sturdy little boxes that bring all of our wonderful designs to life. For the past 50 years, these computers have been the brains in some form or another behind all industrial processes. When you start to move your control design from schematic, loop diagrams, to PLC, you are immediately faced with a question. How? And now Sergio will answer.
We're going to start with the assumption that most sane people make logical decisions, or at least intend to. We assume that any design will involve many different disciplines, mechanical, electrical, and the catch-all controls. Eventually, decisions made in one discipline will affect the decisions made in another. Ideally, the design process would involve a collaborative approach and spiraling towards an effective, efficient design. However, in practice, resources and time run short. Competitive interests disrupt the processes and things will spiral, however, not always in control. Of particular interest is the crossover point between the schematics and the PLC. Again, we make some assumptions. We assume that we know the capabilities of the controller. We assume that we have clarified all of the interfaces. We have the right input-output cards, memory, scan time, all of the hardware, and most importantly, and why it is at the end of the list, or documentation, and which I/O address goes to which device. How do we organize our tags? Regardless if we use ordinary ladder logic programming or automatically generated code derived from a multi-physics model-based simulator. Ultimately, we need some sort of intermediate program to transfer data from the schematics to the PLC code. A traditional method would be to use simple text files or Excel spreadsheets and cross-check each device one by one against the data in the PLC programming tool. This is a time-consuming task and prone to errors as it relies on the dexterity and concentration of the designer/operator working the programming tool. There are, of course, methods to automate some of these steps. Most CAD tools can export a simple text file or spreadsheet, and most PLC development environments can import that very same file. However, if changes to one or more sides of the design are made, the designer is required to maintain and organize these individual files. Again, a set of revision control tools are needed, which again involve another layer of maintenance. If there are more people involved, there are more chances for errors. Simple transcripts errors, which have nothing to do with the actual execution of the PLC code and will not be caught by the PLC compiler, will nevertheless be transferred to the controller, with less than desirable results. Administrative oversight, such as requiring simulation and multiple design checks, can solve some of these problems, but the amount of effort required to check whether or not a list has been moved from one machine to another begs the question: is there a simpler, safer way? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Too kind, too kind. Be sure to tip your waitress at the end. Hopefully you enjoy that as much as we enjoy doing them and putting these together for you guys in a more comprehensive way, probably, maybe not. But anyway, so the software demo at hand. What are we talking about? PLC. So let's dive right into it. As we proceeded with our episodes, we saw all the different facets, all the different steps, and we derived from our project settings that when we were doing our pre-planning phase and we were doing our schematic generation and whatnot, we ended up with a pre-calculation of the amount of IOs that we need. So since the topic of the day is PLCs, this is the what we're going to kind of tackle into and how we're going to blend in this information together. So, of course, knowing full well how we proceed into all our different facets of our engineering processes, we know we have certain schematics assigned to our pre-planning objects. And as we saw in previous episodes, we can insert these. And as we are inserting these different objects into our schematic environment, information is being produced. Now, obviously, the benefits of all this is that ease of functionality and also the fact that we can also benefit from a drag and drop and ease of use tools. Now, of course, as we're using and building up our schematics, we're putting PLC information inside the schematics. And that PLC information will be found inside our navigator, depending on the IO. And as we saw previously also, even from this particular environment, we can also create different PLC overview sheets that will give us a lot of detailed information. And what we're going to be end up doing is we'll basically start to use other tools to be able to merge that. So just as we saw in the animation previously, we want to try to avoid that separation between two disciplines. What I have here is an environment, which is basically the Studios 5000 Architect. We do have other applications that we can communicate with. So we'll look into those eventually in some other episodes. But the benefit here, of course, is to have import and export capabilities. Now, based on our design, we saw that from the pre-calculation of our pre-planning environment with our report that we done, we have a small, simple project that we need 10 outputs and 13 inputs. So basically, an A4 rack would do me justice here. So if I drop in an A4 rack and I go ahead and grab the controller, dump it in. Again, the benefit of when we're starting to work with easy and ease of use tools, the benefits start to unfold. Of course, the interaction and the ease of use functionality greatly help. Of course, there is you have to know how to use these tools eventually, But of course, this is like any other application that you need, and especially with the progression that the environments that we're working with are going and expanding, and all the changes, and especially with the current situations, these are things that we have to take into consideration. How do we make these things faster? So having that done, having this information integrated in my environment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the export functionality. And from here, I'll be able to export my my PLC file. So I can create a new one just so, you know, in case we have those people that say it's pre-cut. So let me do an RAF demo July. That'll be my file. And of course it's exported. And as you notice, what I exported is an AML file. We discussed the AML in our podcast, so be sure to tag along, follow us on the podcast channel, and you'll be able to benefit from all the cool information that's out there. So AML, being the weapon of choice, of course, has a lot of capabilities. We're going to grab that file and we're going to import it into our project. So here, choosing the import data, I'm going to grab that AML file. So I'm going to choose the one I just created, bring that guy in. And basically what the system will do is it brought 4 devices, 1 CPU, and I'm good to go. So these devices are here, but they're generic. They're not necessarily correlated with my design. Of course, these outputs these inputs that I have here are brought in based on the macro tools that I'm using. And of course, they have generic information themselves. So here we have pin 111 and so on and so forth. So there's no real correlation. I'm going to grab that information and blend those two together. So grabbing the file or the information that was brought in from the PLC tool, and I'm just going to blend that in. So to do so, I'm going to grab here a little filter to start with my inputs first, grab all my inputs, and I'm going to choose here PLCs, and I'm going to say use connection point blockwise. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign it to my digital IO card. And I know I need 13 pins or 13 points. So I'm going to say 8 here, 1, 2, 3, 5. So that's going to be my 13. They line up. And now you'll notice that my connection points and all the data that was exported out or brought into my EPLAN tool will now inherit the information that I had in my pre-planning environment. So as soon as I hit OK, now you'll see pin 1, 2, 3, and I have all the information and description all aligned. I can proceed now to do the outputs. So very simple steps. The benefit here, again, is the capabilities of having a tool that can give you an ease of use workflow, regardless of the fact that maybe back in the day you used to do things a certain way. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I had to use my fingers when I was in school counting and doing math. But yeah, basically having these tools that will, once you grasp your head around the concepts, will give you great benefit in the long run. So having that done and integrated all my information, if I go here to my rack-oriented view, I have here my my project, my station, my rack, and all the different tools and hardware. And here, basically, I have some information that correlates in with it. The idea, again, is the principle of being able to have these two tools interact with each other. So it's not a direct communication per se, if you will, but the idea really is the concept of being able to grab this information and being able to manipulate it in 2 instances by means of import and export, as opposed to use a third party or a script or an Excel spreadsheet with macros and things. All these tools are great. They all work. There's nothing wrong with any of them. It's just that there are certain benefits. Once you have your concept wrapped around, you can do these kind of things. So hopefully this kind of enlightens you into this topic. And let's go back here, and here we go. Right, so we'll move into the Q&A session here now.
Sergio, thank you so much. So the first question that we have is, PLCs can EPLAN handle?
How many different PLCs? Okay, so I guess the question is how many PLC hardware types or software types, I guess. Maybe I'm phrasing myself wrong. So what you can do is inside the import or export application under the PLC configuration program types. These are all the different configurations available. Of course, as you can see, we got Beckhoff, B&R, ABB, Mitsubishi's, and so on and so forth. A lot of these are still in process of being reworked and revamped. We had some, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mitsubishi did an update and things were working great. Mitsubishi did an update and now it wasn't working. We have similar cases with Rockwell. They're also looking into their AML environment with the new formats. So there's still a little bit of work that's being done. Siemens also, with their TIA portal versions. So they all work. But they're still getting revamped. So if you're out there, if you're seeing certain things that are not maybe working out, feel free to contact your support. The support team will make sure to get a hold of the PLC experts in Germany and see what's up. But all in all, the tool seems to be working very seamlessly. We had no issues with the Studios 5000 tool just as yet. But yeah, these are pretty much all of the configuration capabilities that we have.
Excellent, thank you. And next question. We saw how to move data from schematics to the PLC. Is there a way to move data from the PLC to the schematic?
Yes, of course. So there's the schematics to the PLCs, but there's also a PLC information that we can bring in, whether you're inserting a device, of course, whether it be a PLC device, and you can bring it into the schematics. Also, the benefits of being able to benefit from all the different functionalities, as you saw me do earlier. If I grab a overview sheet from the PLC, what I can do is from the schematic point of view, I can grab that PLC IO card, drag it into an overview sheet, and I will have the overview information of that sheet. Of course, I'll have here all the representation data that's coming from the schematics into the PLC environment and so on and so forth. So yes, from the PLC to the schematics, we can import, and from the schematics to the PLC, we can output.
Excellent. We have another question. Can you generate blockwise macros via PLC to generate schematics?
Blockwise macros. Okay. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, we have the bitwise, which is represented here. And of course, this is probably not a technique that a lot of people are familiar with. And the benefits of having this type of technique is the fact that we can just show on the schematics the IO points that we require. And as you just saw me do here in the PLC overview, I can have the whole card overview in a form of a report that reflects what's actually happening in the schematics. But of course, inside the schematic environment, it all depends on the macros that you're using that are associated to your parts. In the part data for all these objects here, if I look at the digital input card and I look at the properties in the part information, you can associate a schematic macro that you will be using in order to use the auto generation function. So here, this macro will be utilized to create. So this is an overview, but you do have multiple representations for this particular macro. So you could have a multi-line schematic, a single line, an overview, a whole bunch of them. So these will be the ones represented and used in the auto generation. So it's up to you to fine tune it. We do have courses that are being put together on these, and we also have macros. The data portal has some macros available. There has been a lot of feedback about the data portal parts. We've created a data portal standard. We've sent it out to all the manufacturers. They're starting to abide by those regulations. So hopefully, crossing our fingers, it's up to them to create and put these things together better, and we should be getting benefits from using the new macro information and be able to work with all these different features.
Excellent, excellent. Next question. If I want to reorganize all of my PLC tags in EPLAN, how would I do that?
Yeah, so there are tools in place where under PLC, you can readdress. You can choose the address and assignment list also, which is very beneficial, which kind of gives us a similar representation of our Excel spreadsheet that we're accustomed to using. And of course, we do have capabilities here of readdressing, removing around. We do have capabilities of also exporting out and re-importing in using our edit externally features, which are also beneficial. So depending on the level of knowledge that you have using ePlan, there are multiple facets or multiple ways of doing these things. So this could be something, there's a whole bunch of ways. We do have, again, we're working really on e-learning tools. So hopefully, especially for the North American crowd who is really busy and is overworked. So we're trying to get these things out. There are also coaching services. So one key factor could be for the users out there who want more in-depth coaching services, just like if you would go to a gym, you paid the membership, you're working out, but you want to have that extra oomph, you get yourself a coach who's going to give you all the tricks and tips, same concept. So let your sales rep know that might be something you're interested in.
Thank you, Sergio. So we have a couple more questions. What information do you have to put in to the parts in ePlan to be able to transfer information such as function text to Studio 5000?
Right. The function text is technically the information that you get from the I/O point. Now, the function text property, or this basically would be the property, the description property, and the symbolic property. There are certain attributes. A lot of people have this misconception that it's just a magic wand. You purchase the license of ePlan and you can just, while you're sipping your coffee, ePlan is doing everything for you, which is not the case, and that's with any tool out there. There are certain fields and properties that need to be populated. We do have a lot of, we have some tech tips online. Rockwell created a white paper that's online that you can also get your hands on, which basically really is a deep dive between the integration between ePlan and the Rockwell tool, as well as other applications out there. I know there are certain documentation in the ePlan information portal. If you Google that, you'll have some tech tips there as well that'll explain to you what fields need to be populated. So in this particular case here, the function text will be converted over to the description. The symbolic address will also be brought into the PLC program in the proper fields. Just an example of need to know information. One of these is one that I actually personally had to tackle myself. The symbolic address cannot take any spaces. So in the transfer of data from ePlan to, and apparently it's with other tools that I found out, there's no spaces available. So when you use an underscore, it gives you that effect. So these are knowledge-based information that, you can ask us in support, you can ask us, and even with the coaching service, we can look at this more in depth.
Sorry to do this to you, Andrew, but we had like 2 more questions come in right as we started the outro. Great job, everybody. First one is, in your demo, you use Studio Architect. Is it also available in Pro Panel?
So there are packages available in Pro Panel. You would add the add-on of the PLC into your Pro Panel environment if it's something that you require. So yes, it's available.
That's our time for this episode. Hope you enjoy it.
I hope you enjoyed the demo. Be sure to stop by our ePlan Experience booth at the Rockwell Automation Fair at Home.
Engineering is going through a real revolution. Cloud computing, the Internet of Things, and data integration have a huge impact on industrial production systems. An efficient exchange of digital data between the different engineering phases is necessary to prevent disruption. If you want to work efficiently, you must think in an integrated way. That starts in the concept phase. Thanks to the digitization and modularization of engineering data, you can immediately start with conceptual design. This smart customization ensures substantial time savings, better estimable offers, and sharper delivery times. Smart engineering stands for a smart connection of electrical, mechanical, and software data. Thanks to one virtual prototype, everyone speaks the same language. It opens the door to smart production. The digital twin with 3D info and other smart data ensures smooth communication between man and machine. The better and more accessible information is built up in the concept, engineering and production phases, the less time you'll lose later on in case of downtime. You can also store everything in the cloud, so everyone has direct access to the right digital data at any given time. It's crystal clear. Working in an integrated way creates added value, shortens the lead time of your projects, and reduces downtime in case of a breakdown. This way you create a great added value for your product. Do you want to know how you can do this? The different solutions within the EPLAN platform support you towards an integrated engineering and production process. Your digital transformation with EPLAN.
Digital data has become a primary focus for product development and production, with manual and automated processes of panel building having standardized and digitally provided data is becoming a necessity. User errors are expensive, and implementing the correct set of wiring can be tedious and oftentimes daunting. With the help of virtual prototyping, access to creating a digital footprint of wiring is now possible. From the connections to the best routing path, EPLAN Smart Wiring creates a virtual layout that provides shop floors with all the necessary information in a 3D digital format. Data can be passed along to different departments seamlessly. Whether it's a manual or fixed installation, wiring information is available to the design department via email. What else can smart wiring do? With the help of a smart device, you can access EPLAN Smart Wiring and receive detailed step-by-step instructions for easy implementation. Wiring can be completed without schematics or layouts, and connections can be recorded using the traffic light principle. In addition to creating a transparent guideline, smart wiring also helps avoid mistakes in real time. By running an automatic project comparison, last-minute changes are now possible. Using EPLAN Pro Panel, Smart Wiring and eView will give you a 45% time savings in wire preparation and project completion. To learn more about how to save on cost and time through automation, visit us at info.eplanusa.com/wiring 4.0.